incredibly beautiful mountains so high they almost reach the clouds. On one of the northern peaks, a mysterious man rises, heavily leaning on his stick. The boy lowers a medallion onto a tombstone and after a hard journey exhales, then collapses to the ground, exhausted. He speaks about a man named Lion Song. He managed to fulfill only half of the promise he made. You see, the boy hasn't eaten for a long time. Deep cheekbones are visible on his face. The boy continues lying on the ground, and in his eyes flickers a beautiful old woman, and he remembers the years when he was emperor. Emperor Hongwu asks his grandson what he thinks about power. The boy considers power to be flowers. The old man does not understand why his grandson thinks so. The boy takes his chin and ponders the answer. The boy thinks that if not flowers then power, it does not matter whether commoners or nobles. They all gather throughout the capital and talk about them. The grandfather lifts him in his arms and praises his insight. He says to Yun Wen, remember, although flowers are so bright and colorful, they can wither as if they never existed. His grandfather died, so having no worthy heir, he passed the throne to the boy. Yun Wen's uncle tells him that the old man entrusted the fate of the empire to such a worthless person, and the man believes such a humiliated person has no place on the throne. Yun Wen does not understand and fears his uncle. The man says everything has its order and orders him to get off his throne. Eventually, he staged a bloody coup and many people died. Lion Song grabs Yun Wen by the shoulder and says to come with him. The uncle shouts to his men, seize Yun Wen and kill him. The imperial guard tries to protect the young emperor. Master Lion Song sent the boy out of the palace by a secret route. He tells him about the peak of the mysterious little peak of Mount Tai, asks to find a small stone monument and hang the emperor's token on it. 2 people who served Yun Wen's grandfather will help him. The boy sadly tells Lion Song that he is tired of continuing to live such a miserable life. The old man gets angry and shouts at him to pull himself together. Surviving is the only way to carry out Emperor Hongwu's order and honor his memory. Lion Song, with tears in his eyes, asks him to promise that Yun Wen will survive. The boy is still upset but replies to Lion that he understands everything. Yun Wen mounted the horse and the old man wished him luck on his back. He lies on the ground and finally realizes that power is fleeting. If he is born again, he wants to appear not as a flower that can wither at any moment, but as a free butterfly. He thinks about Lin Song and counts that as all he can do. An unknown old man stands over the candles and strikes the golden bell. He recalls the basics of soul summoning and spirit binding, preserved in the secret repository of the fire worshippers' cult. He sits surrounded by candles and meditates. If the majestic heavenly emperor had not been favorable from the very beginning, the old man would still not be in this world. He asks Huino about the readiness of the vessel. Huino removed his epithelium and shaved the skeleton, inserted ivory under the nasal cartilage, and transplanted back the same removed epithelium. The old man poured into him a dozen kinds of elixirs and poisonous juices, melted his bones, and redrew his outline. Since he is already old, he has to constantly renew himself, but despite his age, the old man makes no mistakes in surgical work. Huino tears off the cloth that covered Yun Wen and informs Huang No that the vessel preparation is complete. It worked well. The heavenly emperor would also be delighted. Huang No asks the heavenly demon whether he is ready to welcome his new life or not. The demon replies, how dare he wake him from sleep and disturb him. The old man says he wants to give him a new life and, pointing to the vessel, adds this. The demon laughs at his words about a new life. He answers the old man that he disagrees, and Huang No does not understand why he thought the heavenly demon desired this. The heavenly demon does not want to become human. He lives an unparalleled life. In hell it was much more interesting for him, and in the human world he felt boredom and loneliness. He tells Huang No if they summon him again, he will kill them all. The old man panics and begs to wait. Huang No must come up with a secret plan. If the heavenly demon returns now, all this will be in vain. He needs something to catch the attention of the unparalleled representatives of the demonic cult. Suddenly he exclaims that the heavenly demon is an idiot. The demon got angry and thinks that Huang No already desires his own death. The old man shows him if he is truly a heavenly demon then an idiot and damn poorly informed about what surrounds him. Huang No understands he must not tremble, his life hangs by a thread. In this generation appeared an unusual ascetic named Zhang Sanfeng. He is even exalted as more perfect than Dharma. The demon does not understand who is being referred to. He has never heard the name of this child. People of time say no matter how strong the heavenly demon is, he will not last a second against the sage Sanfeng. The heavenly demon says, who could say such nonsense? Huang No asks the demon what he knows about development. Perhaps the heavenly demon was once the best in his time, but the Murim people improved martial arts daily. Current generation has developed them so strongly that they cannot be compared to the previous generation. The old man tells the demon he was bored due to the lack of worthy opponents, and now since he has appeared, let him become the strongest again. The demon was interested in his proposal then and now. The demon asks how old the child is and how the body will serve him as a vessel. The old man answers that the boy is 20 years old. The demon understands this body will endure at least another 100 years and he will be able to prove his skill and the name of the heavenly demon. He tells Hwan Nohu that when this happens, he will treat them, and the old man quietly and timidly replied, "Thank you." Hwan Naku asks the demon to lie down and he will begin the ritual. He asks Huino to bring the demon's soul pill and he will take the rest upon himself. The old man puts a round tablet into his mouth. He pierces the body many times with needles to revive it. The master suddenly bursts onto the scene and grabs his head. The old men do not understand what is happening. He hears voices and his head hurts as if it is about to explode. He asks Hwan Naku about the voice. The old man uses the technique, but he is unlucky it does not work and he cannot help the master. Huino asks Hwan Naku what is going on here. Suddenly the master shouts and says, "Shut up." Huino is scared. He thinks the master said it to him. Hwan Naku explains that the master is not saying this to him, because right now the master is talking to the heavenly demon. It seems a great fundamental principle has failed. The master asked the old man to do something about it. Hwan Naku told the heavenly demon that he failed to fully take control over the master. The collision of consciousnesses is something that should not have happened, because if this state continues, the master's mind may be destroyed. Huino proposes to Hwan Naku to send the heavenly demon back, but Hwan only knows how to summon it, not how to return it. They continue to argue. Suddenly the master exclaims and a mystical aura rises from him. Hwan Naku panics. He already understood that the demon's essence and the master's consciousness have merged, otherwise his behavior cannot be explained. Then suddenly he had an idea. He tells Huino that he still has one more demon soul pill. In other words, they can again use the great foundations and with their help suppress the demonic nature of the heavenly demon. Huino does not understand that he wants to suppress the demon's soul with the help of a pill. The head of Huino, Hwan Naku thinks, has turned into a stone block, otherwise why does he not understand his plan? Another legendary orthodox Murim will be inscribed into the master's body. Huino understood his plan, implanted another one. It would be possible to neutralize the demonic energy. They have little time and they begin. Huino orders to try and the rest they leave to the heavens. The emperor, whoever he may be, must appear directly from the heavens. The old men collapse from exhaustion. Hwan Naku says, "Old man, for this." The old men notice that the master is waking up and ask if he is okay. The master is hungry and asks if they have any food. The master swallows everything he sees. Hwan Naku and Huino think their ritual was successful, although they are a bit shocked by what happened. The heavenly demon says why was he driven into such a tight place? The master and the demon are in one body. The master replies to him that the demon is much cooler than he heard. The boy can't stand it and tells these two that they are not alone here and orders them to be silent. The demon does not understand why the boy does not feel pain, although his head should have split into pieces when they said that. The boy noticed after the ritual the voices of Huino and Hwan Naku remained in his head, but they became less intrusive. The heavenly demon appears and does not understand how the boy dares to speak in such a tone to the strongest creature. Hwan Naku and Huino do not understand each other because the boy is talking to himself. The second to enter Yunwan's body was Huainan, a priest who was revered as the sixth patriarch of the Shaolin monastery. The boy realized a rather powerful man entered his body together with him. The heavenly demon can no longer bother him. He says thank you to the old boar, meaning Huan, Huino, and Hwan Naku ask, what kind of vulgar language is the boy using? Yunwan says, give him another bowl of food. Of course they fulfill his request and hurrying go for seconds. Hwan Naku noticed that the boy is changing. There are immediately 3 personalities in his body. His temperament will converge and diverge due to sudden changes and the old man does not understand what to do about it. Yunwan cuts off his thoughts and asks to bring him water. The boy asks Huainan to give him a name because he looks the most knowledgeable among them. The old man suggests he take the name Inconstancy. Yunwan does not like this. He understands that in Jianghu people will not accept this name. The boy wants to know the opinion of the demon and Huainan is angrily upset. The demon said to the old man he cannot know what coolness is and he should have asked him immediately. He suggests Yunwan take the nickname Iron-Blooded Asura. Boy replies he needs a name, not some foreign title. He does not understand how such ignorance became the strongest in the world. Demon became enraged because of his arrogance and wants to immediately seize his body. But he fails. The demon does not understand why everything is fine with Yunwen. The demon realized that because of Huinin, he cannot take control of the body. In terms of numbers, demons are weaker, so he cannot seize the body. He cannot take control of the body, so he has no choice but to cooperate with them first and foremost. Boy understands that using his surname Zhu would be strange. The heavenly demon wants to completely consume the body of Zhu Yunwen. Yunwen asks the demon what he is mumbling to himself. The demon was thinking about his own battle name and suggested to him Heavenly Destroyer. Boy liked the name suggested by the demon. Ichueng No asks the young master where he is heading. Boy replies that he wants to take a walk around Mirim. The old men do not understand why he is already leaving, and the boy says there is nothing unusual about it. Ichuan Nok said that Yunwen did not have time to restore all his strength and martial arts. The boy points to his forehead and says that all the martial arts of the heavenly demon and Huinin are stored in his head. He does not understand why, if they themselves performed this ritual, they did not know about it. Yuino says it is awkward to send a young master in such a condition. Yunwen looks at the tree. It is clear that he is thinking about something. The old men ask what he is planning. They are worried. Boy tells the heavenly demon to use his martial arts. He accumulates a huge reserve of purple energy in his hand. Boy showed them his power and set off. The elders from the cliff watch him with their eyes. He walks through the forest and hums something to himself. Ichuan Nok fears that everything will be fine, but Huino reminds him the young master has broken free from their control. Ichuan Nok is not talking about that. He means something else. He looks at the huge trench that Yunwen made and asks if it is right to release such a bomb in Muramu, meaning the boy. Huino worries about the master. Ichuan No says the master will cope with the difficulties. Ichuan No thinks that Yunwen resembles the late emperor. A tall man kneels on the snow, and his back is covered in wounds. Blood flows endlessly. This is the Blue Demon King, and he tells his opponents that they will not be able to break their spirit. The man leans on his great sword. He is surrounded by many enemies. A well-dressed man tells Ha Gunpyo his luck ends with possessing the spirit of martial arts. He traveled the world just like that, but the Northern Blades Association will not stay aside. Blue Demon King replies to him, aren't they the ones who acted first, using their power? The Northern Blade Association may be the dominant force in Jiangsu, but Ha Gunpyo is also a disciple of a great school. The man is serious. He orders to inform the leader of the Northern Blade Association that he will soon come for his head. A member of the association does not think so, because they have spread a net of sky and earth to catch all the 7 kings of the demonic path. Ha Gunpyo, according to him, does not interfere with anything, but the members of the association tell him to stop showing off. The expression on his face changed. He became alert. A member of the association knows about his plan. Ha Gunpyo seeks to buy time, but he praises him for his courage for saving his brothers. The man, grinning predatory, points upward with his finger and asks if you heard how the blue-faced demon sounds. He thinks his brothers have already gone to the underworld. Ha Gunpyo flies into a rage. He realized that the association intends to destroy all followers of the demonic path. The man suddenly lunges at the association member with a huge sword. And the association member easily parries the attack of the blue-faced demon, deflecting his sword with his foot. In response, he strikes him on the forehead with the hilt of his sword. The man writhes in pain and falls to his knees. The association member tells him that getting rid of the followers of the demonic path is the right decision. Ha Gunpyo says indifferently that they do whatever they want, but as soon as it concerns this man, the man does not manage to finish speaking. He is interrupted by the association member. He decided that by this man they mean the Grandmaster of the demonic path, Hyuk Woo Chan, the very one whom Ha Gunpyo so respects. The man asks the blue-faced demon if he wants to learn a secret. It turns out that the King of Swords of the Northern Sea and the Assassin of the Azure Sea have turned away, and the Grandmaster of the demonic path can do nothing because he does not take any measures even when Ha Gunpyo and his brothers are dying. But Ha Gunpyo understands, Hyakin Jian is not like people with a demonic path. The times will come when he and his brothers will shed bloody tears at any cost. The association member replies to him that he talks too much. It does not suit the appearance of the blue-faced demon king. He orders his subordinates to seize him. The man swings his sword and easily deflects the attack, scattering the enemies in different directions. One of the 3 men standing behind Ha Gunpyo does not understand how that man had enough energy to also use the Chi Aura enhancement. Ha Gunpyo looks frightened. The blue-eyed demon noticed. The one who deflected his strike blocked him with his sword's reinforced blade. These three men are three great swordsmen of Tianjin. The one standing in the middle says Ha Gunpyo is Ha Gunpyo. No, he says that Ha Gunpyo is the one standing in the middle, and that he is the last of the 7 kings of the demonic path of the Demon King's clan. Today's hunt will end as soon as they eliminate him. Ha Gunpyo also expected something similar from the scoundrel orthodox warriors. The old man got tired because of him and says Ha Gunpyo just died. Ha. 3 masters used the invisible network of swords. The bluish demon realized that he was doomed and thought, soon he will end up in the afterlife together with his brothers. With his last strength, Ha Gunpyo puts the art of the thunder blade into action. Yunwen interferes with him and knocks the weapon out of his hands. Likewise, he does not let the masters launch an attack and swiftly rushes past them. All their weaponry lies on the ground. Yunwen says what miserable degenerates they are. Ha Gunpyo and others stand with their mouths agape, not understanding who this person is. The boy states that he was watching the fight only because it was interesting, but they behave too arrogantly even though they possess martial arts. The warriors on both sides suddenly realized Yunwen stole their weapons in an instant. They do not understand who he is, while the boy stands calmly. One of the Tianshan swordsmen asks him who he is to stage such pranks. Yunwen does not recall ever playing pranks on people. The boy tells the master, if martial arts masters have their weapons stolen, it is the greatest insult to them. The master is furious. The man throws at Yunwen. He is just a brat whose milk on the lips has not yet dried. His comrade asks him to calm down. The second sword of Tianjin, Ha Daeyoung, asks Yunwen to tell him his name. The boy quietly, timidly said that he is the summoner of the heavenly demon, the heavenly destroyer. The heavenly demon begins to like Yunwen. Yunwen studied the writings told to him by the No twins and tamed the demon. The man from the Tianjin swords tells his comrades that they are idiots and why they are introducing themselves before him. He tells the boy how he dares to humiliate them when he sees him babbling about the heavenly demon, and such it is easy to understand that the heavenly destroyer also follows the demonic path. The man wants to kill Ha Gunpyo along with Yunwen, and he swiftly rushed at the boys with his sword. The heavenly demon asks Yunwen not to say that he is just going to sit idly by. The boy is not going to die in vain after having survived hellish times. He easily deflects the master's strike using martial arts. The other 2 Tianjin sword masters try to intervene in the duel, but Yunwen scatters them aside. The heavenly demon laughs and tells Yunwen that he couldn't even use half of his power. The old man gets angry, watches the fight from the side, and says how stupid bastards they are. The man grabs a sword, it flies straight into his hands. The man strikes Yunwen with a strong sword swing and tells the boy that he shouldn't have been distracted. The old man thinks there he caught him. Yunwen sets up another man. The boy asks the attacker why he ruined his hairstyle. Boy, is it allowed to cut your own allies? The man is furious at him, but the boy hits him in the face with his boot. The other Tianshan swordsmen also go mad seeing their comrade kneeling with a broken nose. They attack him, but he easily dodges their attacks and strikes back. Yunwen kicks the man in the neck for breaking his nose. He writhes in pain. The warrior doesn't understand what exactly his subordinates are doing and why they aren't pressing their numerical advantage. And the guy quickly ends up next to him and says, it seems the old man likes to fight when he is overwhelmed by numbers. The old man flinches back in fear. He does not understand how Yunwen so stealthily sneaked right up to his nose. He is surprised by his endurance. The guy stands on one leg, the other bent and stretched upwards, and his head thrown back. The heavenly demon is surprised that Yunwen is going to use this. The guy with mystical power fiercely strikes the ground with his foot, and the demon says that this fighting technique is his symbol. The guy clones himself. This technique is called heavenly demonic roll. Blue-faced demon thinks he is hallucinating. Tianshan sword warrior believes that this is an illusion technique. Yunwen replies he is not sure. Let the old man better look for himself. The man goes mad and shouts that the 3 great Tianshan swordsmen would not fall for a simple cloning technique. He rushes at one of the illusions. The old man thinks it is real. Another clone pierces through his stomach. The old man stands in horror without his left arm and looks at his dead comrades. And all those who are still alive run away from Yunwen. The heavenly demon thinks that the boy is running after them, but he believes that is enough for today and he can stop. The blue-faced demon is shocked that Yunwen wants to put an end to everything just because he is tired of it. Ha Gunpyo looks at piles of corpses of people killed by Yunwen. In this world, the orthodox have significantly more weight than the demonic followers. The man in this upside-down world thinks an incredible man has appeared here. The heavenly demon tells Yunwen he has the traits to follow him. Killed Ha Gunpyo crawled to Yunwen. Blue-faced demon asks Yunwen to take him with him, calling this boy a great warrior. The guy runs away from him. He calls Ha Gunpyo a hairy old man and will never take him with him, and the man continues to shout after him. The city of Kaifeng, Murim, was turned upside down. 2,000 swordsmen of the Northern Blade Association and 500 martial arts masters of the 9 Orthodox Forces Union went hunting for the 7 kings of the demonic path and destroyed 6 of the 7 kings. People buzzed with discussions. And the second news shook Murim even more. The summoner of the heavenly demon, the heavenly destroyer, the one who killed 528 people from the Northern Blade Association and 127 people from the 9 Orthodox Alliance, is the appearance of a demonic god. 3 guys discuss him. One heard that everyone who saw him died. The second says that he has a face like the devil, and the boy objects. After all, Ha Dik Hyun, the second sword of Tiantian, who managed to survive, said that he is a young and handsome master. In any case, the Association Northern Blade has already sent an investigative team. It seems there will be a bloody massacre in Murim. The heavenly demon says since everyone is talking about him, it means it was a wonderful appearance of the heavenly destroyer. Yunwen orders him to shut up. The boy feels as if he has been dragged into a senseless clash. The heavenly demon says what's wrong with that. After all, the boy even changed clothes. Hyoinin thinks he meant something else. The boy tells these 2 that they are too loud and orders them to be quiet. Yunwen thinks since Ha Dik Hyun already knows his face, he needs to disguise himself. Hyoinin suggests to the boy that instead of hiding, he should simply change people's opinion of him. The boy was not even going to think about that. In the pavilion of the Neutral Inn, a girl meets a new visitor. The boy asks to bring him a bottle of alcohol and some simple snacks. Yunwen asks the girl why she is still staring at his face. The waitress smiled embarrassedly and covered her face with her hand. The guy wonders what the matter is and whether she really knows who he is. The girl replied that in 10 years of working as a waitress, she had never seen such a handsome client. The young man sighed. The waitress asks him to wait a second, and she will bring him everything right now. The boy started the meal and noticed the alcohol served to him was different from what he drank in the palace. Hyoinin does not know what alcohol tastes like, but believes that it is what brings joy to common people. He asks Yunwen how he feels and whether the taste of the drink differs from Murim. The boy pondered his words. He had so many chances to try it, but he did not like it. The only one who liked to drink was his uncle. His bitter alcohol has always tasted bitter to him. Hyoinin thinks, judging by what he heard, probably a mental illness made the alcohol bitter. The boy does not understand that he has a mental illness. The old man says, although this time the young man definitely committed murder, no one else can pay for his sins. Hyoinin asks not to make his stupid mistakes, not to get involved in a fight that could have been avoided, and not to commit senseless murders. So, as the wise man believes, someday this boy will be able to taste the sweetness of alcohol. Yunwen pondered his words. The heavenly demon says these words sound like those of any other old grandfather and asks Hyoinin if he even knows the taste of alcohol. The demon believes that if you don't kill, you will be killed. This applies to the whole world, not just Murim. Hyoinin replies to the heavenly demon. This is the first time Yunwen has committed such an excessive killing since coming to Murim, so the heavenly demon should show the boy some leniency and learn to understand him. The demon says, does not have that shitty generosity. Yunwen did not think that the heavenly demon's martial arts would be so strong. This was the first time he felt so free. But if he uses power only for his own interests, he will be no different from his uncle. The boy says to Hyoinin, when his drinks become sweet, he will let him drink too. The old man replied to him, he cannot be an alcoholic because he was once a monk. Suddenly, the heavenly demon cuts off their conversation and orders Yunwen to be on guard. Someone is approaching him. The boy thinks, judging by his clothes, the one who approached is a member of the coalition, Southern Blade. He introduced himself to Yunwen. His name is Tang Zhang. He is from Sichuan province. Tang Zhang offers to join their company. Yunwen understood, judging by their appearance, they are probably about his age, and it seems Tang Zhang is a martial arts master. He thinks, since it's already boring, he can join them and extract some information. Tang Zhang tells his friends that since the young master gladly accepted their offer, they should greet each other. The first to introduce himself was Namgun Hyorkun. He was given the title of Divine Dragon of the White Sword. Yunwen tells him it's nice to meet him, and the demon notes that he has good composure. The muscular boy is named Zhanghu, the Iron Blood Fist. The girl is named Namgun Ayan, and she thinks he is quite handsome. Namgun Hemi is silent. He doesn't understand what is so good about him that everyone is so happy. Yunwen repeats once again he is pleased to meet them. Murong Zhongjul from the Murong clan says that from their side there are enough introductory words and asks Yunwen to introduce himself. The boy noticed that they all look like descendants of prestigious martial clans. He does not know how to behave because they all treat him very hospitably. Yunwen swaps the syllables in his surname and introduces himself as Wen Yun, a scholar wandering here and there, and it is a great honor for him to be among such wonderful people. The heavenly demon tells him why after the heavenly destroyer he took such a lousy name. The demon believes that no one knows the boy's identity. Zhongjul is also pleased to meet him. The heavenly destroyer thought that these guys were ordinary residents of Murem, their age, but hearing their speeches he realized these 4 gentlemen and 4 ladies are people of high status. Unlike the Northern Blade Association and the Southern Blade Coalition, they belong to a much more powerful force, the Orthodox faction, known for its righteous deeds, the League of 5 Clans. And the pillars of this league were the clans, Namgun, Tang from Sichuan, Peng from Hebei, Yan from Jinzhou, and Murong. Yunwen understood these people are children of the elite responsible for the future 5 clans. The boy asks them what brought them to the Kaifeng house, as this place is quite far from Chengdu and Jiangnan. The demon is surprised because Yunwen says he hardly knows Murem, but when he was emperor he practically knew the entire map of Murem by heart. Zhonghu answers Yunwen, even if they explain, he still will not understand. The man speaks in Murem language that something happened. Hemi says that this place is Kaifeng. It may be the headquarters of the beggar sect, but it is also the base of the Northern Blade Association. The boy became anxious. He felt that he had hit right in the very heart of the Northern Blade Association. Yunwen wants to learn even more information about how their meeting is connected to the Northern Blade Association. One Hemi noisily places his cup on the table, saying how curious he is. The girl tells him that a grand banquet of representatives of the Orthodox faction will take place here. The boy meant how could he have known that? Zhongjul asks his sister not to be rude to the guest. The girl agrees and continues eating. Yunwen assumes because of the grand banquet of the Orthodox faction, all Orthodox martial arts masters will gather at the Kaifeng house. Hemi Chuang confirms his guess. Yunwen says he didn't know that the Murem world was so divided into different factions. He makes them believe that he is an amateur in Murem. Zhongjul noticed this and assumes that the boy will be interested to learn about the Murem world. The man talks about the harsh place of Murem, especially now, when the root of the conflict is becoming deeper and deeper. Yunwen is interested in what the root of this conflict is. Zhongjul says no matter what kind of boy he is, an amateur in Murem matters, he must know about the conflict between the orthodox and demonic paths. The boy quickly replied that he knows about this. The man continues, even in the history of Murem, these 2 forces have never been so clearly separated as they are today. They are in a situation where everyone in Murem must choose between 2 options despite everything. Yunwen does not understand how this can be. Can there be people who do not want to belong to any of the paths? Zhongjul replies, of course there are such people, but those who sit in the middle are considered enemies and most likely they will be killed. Yunwen thinks it is unreasonable to kill people who do not want to belong to either side. The boy apologizes for interrupting Zhongjul, but he wants to know who is accusing them. Zhongjul says that they are the Orthodox faction and he also belongs to it, so Yunwen might think that he is just flattering him. But he does not believe that the Orthodox faction, which suppresses the demonic path, is the only way to preserve Murem's morality. Heavenly Demon, Zhongjul thinks quite impartially for a little child from the Orthodox faction. Hemi reminds his older brother that he should not behave like that in front of so many people. Yunwen agrees with his opinion, but right now she has no influence and overall it is unrealistic. Still, this person should be watched closely. The boy understood the complexity of the situation in Murema and learned a lot of new things. Zhongjul says everyone has their own circumstances. Zhongjul sees his interest in Murem and asks him not to hesitate to ask questions. The boy says maybe this sounds arrogant, but he is curious who is currently the strongest in Jianghu. Zhongjul fell silent in surprise and thoughtfulness after his question. Yunwen realized that he had asked a rather awkward question. The man says everything is fine, but he himself is not sure who is the strongest. Although opinions differ, the leading figures among the 4 generations should be the grandmasters of the demonic path. The heavenly demon does not know who they are, he has never heard of or seen them. Yunwen replied that he understood everything. However, Jianghu is extremely vast and there are definitely martial arts masters stronger than Zhongjul said. He can appear anywhere and anytime. The boy asks about Master Huainan, the 6th ancestor of Shaolin. Dongjil does not know it is hard for him to say, since he lived more than 700 years ago. The heavenly demon bursts into laughter, and he tells the old man Huainan that he will achieve nothing within the bounds of time. And after that, he asks about the heavenly demon. Dongjil is unclear why the boy is asking about him. He believes that this story is implausible, so it is unclear how much it can be trusted. The demon gets angry and says that even the elders beyond the heavens know about this fact. Suddenly, a crowd of men bursts into the room, and one of them pushes the woman so that she falls to the floor. The man tells her how dare she think she can escape from them. The girl begs for her life to be spared. Yunwen understood from the order that members of the Northern Blade Association had arrived here. The person standing in front is the vice-captain of the Law Enforcement Guard of the Northern Blade Association, the Sword of the White Tiger Ga Duksem. The young people from the 5 great clans look dissatisfied with what is happening. Ga Duksem tells the girl how dare he abandon his father, claiming he wants to survive on his own. The girl asks for someone to save her. Emi draws her sword and intervenes in the situation. She asks since when Kaifeng became so lawless and how martial arts masters from orthodox sects can humiliate such a helpless girl. People support her words and they say that this is not allowed even if they are from the Northern Blade Association. Ga Duksem replies to her like this: how dare he stick his nose into the affairs of their association? After this, she will no longer be safe. The girl says that this might scare someone else but not her Namgun Hemi. It won't work on her. The entire space is in shock because she is the daughter of the divine sword of the azure sky. The man orders her not to interfere in the affairs of other sects, such is the eternal rule of Jianghu. Hemi says that she is not so foolish as to be unaware of this, but one should not close their eyes to what is happening against the social order, and this is exactly what she must do as a martial arts master. Judging by what she sees, they are engaged in something resembling kidnapping. The man thinks she is doing this because she does not understand. This girl is Zhu Zhufeng, daughter of Zhu Jingya, the snow tiger with 1,000 skills and leader of the demonic border sect of Kaifeng. They have no choice. An order was issued to arrest all members of the demonic border sect. If she intends to interfere with them, then they will have to use force. Zhangjul says since when has the law enforcement squad of the Northern Blade Association behaved so arrogantly? Anyone believes that he should not have joined them. Boys in the law enforcement squad stand surrounding the woman. The man says that they are currently performing their official duties. He noticed, judging by his clothes, this boy is also from the great Namgun clan. Ga Duksem asks if they are trying to threaten him. Yongjil says if that is really the case, then what are they going to do? In that case, Ga Duksem will report this to his superiors. The captain of the law enforcement squad, nicknamed the Smiling One who removes Wu's sword, Henshin, says there is no need for that. The word retreat does not exist in their squad's dictionary, and it is not worth reporting something so trivial. Everyone in the squad bows to the captain. The heavenly demon says, what kind of freak is this, looking like chopsticks? The captain asks the young master Namgun if he does not think he is crossing the line. The boy bursts out in anger and does not understand what exactly he means. If the leader of the alliance of 5 clans finds out about this, Yungjil will be held accountable. Yungjil could find himself in a difficult position if the story about how the future leader of the Namgun clan stumbled upon the Northern Blade Association through a simple girl from the demonic path gets out. But Yungjil does not back down. The captain of the guard asks if the guy is ready to take responsibility if relations between the League of 5 Clans and the Northern Blade Association sour. Donghu answers him as if he dares to behave and threaten the next head of the Namgun clan. Wu Henshin speaks like this, showing respect to the heir of the Namgun clan, considering his young age, and Zhonghu does not even dare to say anything similar to him. The captain gives the order, do not let anyone out onto the street and surround this place. He asks Yungjil what he will do now. The heavenly demon does not like this captain. He says, scoundrels, their orthodox sects have always been wolves in sheep's clothing, and asks the heavenly destroyer, why not break them all? The guy said his personality will be revealed right here if he uses martial arts, and the demon simply orders to beat them to death so that no witnesses remain. Yoinen suggests in that case to use his martial arts. The guy looks at him in surprise. The captain of the guard asks the young master once again what he intended to do. The boy angrily clenches his fists and says, leave this girl to us. Zhangjil tells him, since they cannot, then his company will oversee the entire investigation and accompany the girl regardless of who her father is. It has nothing to do with her. If they refuse, they will not let it go just like that. Captain's face changed. The boy does not understand what the matter is. Duxum knows that the expression on the face means the captain wants to kill. Wu Henshin tells them that they carry clan crests on their backs but do not know at all how the world is arranged, and orders let them try to take her from them. Boys are determined and ready to fight. Squad captain draws his wavy sword from behind his back. He cannot bear to look at the arrogant face of the master from the wealthy house. He intends to simply take and kill this girl on the spot. Dongjul says how can one act like that being a member of the Orthodox sect. He says that killing her would be too much. Captain wants to undress the girl. He says what a bastard he is. Yunwen cannot stand it and, using Huinen's power, attacks Wu Henshin. Yunwen throws the captain of the guard squad far away. Emi and Zhang Jiul are surprised. They thought the boy was an ordinary scholar. Everyone is shocked standing under the young man who is hanging in the air. Zhang Jiul knows this is Shaolin martial arts, the degree of ascending to the heavens. Captain Wu Henshin, coughing, tells the boy how dare he hit him. He is completely bewildered. How does Yunwen fly? He did not know that such Qinggong even exists. Wu Henshin does not think the boy is a member of the Five Clans League. The man does not understand where he came from. Yunwen orders Imu to release the girl, otherwise the captain of the law enforcement squad will die today by his hand. Huinen refuses Yunwen, but the heavenly demon, on the contrary, incites. Captain does not know who this boy is, but it is even more unclear to him why he is doing this. Wu Henshin repeats again that he is a representative of the Northern Blade Association and wants to take the sword from the floor. The boy hit the captain and repeats, "Let her go and stop repeating who you are again." But he cannot do this even if Yunwen is a martial arts master. The word retreat is not in the law enforcement unit's dictionary. After these words, he receives the strongest blow to the stomach with the boy's hand. Yunwen attacks his pressure points, delivering numerous strikes. The boy tells him next time he will hit for real. The captain becomes furious and orders his squad to kill this bastard. The boy casually kicks a flower pot and throws it at one of the warriors. The vice captain stands with his mouth agape from what he sees, but Yunwen quickly sweeps him out of the way. There is complete chaos in the building. Yunwen single-handedly deals with the soldiers. He kills one of them with a Buddha ground technique. The boy does not understand why these people keep fighting, having nothing but numbers. The man with the mustache also attacks him. He brushed him off with 2 fingers of his hand lightly, as if nothing. And he also covers his back from the soldier's attack. Zhang Jiul is shocked by what he sees because Yunwen uses the bamboo leaf fist, heavenly palm, and bodhisattva palm. If his memory does not fail him, then all these are advanced Shaolin techniques. Wu Henshin lunged again at the boy with her wavy sword. But again the expression on his face changes to fear. Yunwen accumulates a huge amount of yellow energy on his palm. He uses the Vajra energy palm. Zhang Jiul is still surprised because Yunwen used the advanced unbreakable palm technique. The boy suspects that Yunwen is a martial arts master who has learned all 72 advanced Shaolin techniques. Emi asks the captured girl if she is okay. The girl answers yes. The captain of the guard squad is lying on the floor after a strong blow. Yunwen uses sound transmission. He tells Wu Henshin to listen carefully because he will repeat only once. The boy ordered to inform all members of the law enforcement squad to retreat immediately. If the captain refuses, he will be covered by hellish pain unlike anything he has felt before. The man nodded in response to Yunwen. The youth from the Five Clans League together with Yunwen stands in awkward silence. The boys are shocked by his abilities. The boy realized he had overdone it. Yunwen thinks everything should be left as is and tells everyone to start cleaning the store. And after cleaning, all these young people gathered around one table, even if it was uncomfortable. The boy pats Wu Henshin on the back and suggests sitting together to relieve tension. Zhanghu has no words because there must be a limit to how arrogantly one can look down on others. He tells Yunwen how he can laugh if he made everyone look like fools. Namgun Ayan agrees. The young man pretended to be a dilettante, but the amount of internal energy he possessed was incredible. But in her mind, she still considers him cool. Yunwen bows and offers his apologies. Due to unavoidable circumstances, he had no other choice, so he was forced to lie about his identity. He hopes the guys will not be offended by him. But despite being an amateur in the world of Murem, there is truth in this. He came to Murem for the first time. The boy hopes for their forgiveness. Yungjil laughs loudly and calls him young master Wen. Yunwen asks if the heir of the Namgun clan has any questions. The boy does not want to cling to the past and ruin new acquaintances. But it would be better if the boy told about his unavoidable circumstances so they would feel less deceived, and asked what his true identity is. The boy does not want to talk about it foolishly right away, but he understands. Fate brought them together, so he will not hide that he inherited the mantras of the venerable Huineng, the sixth patriarch of the Shaolin Temple. The whole company is shocked by what they heard. The heavenly demon tells the boy that his best skill is inventing stories, and it cannot be said that he is completely wrong. And Ayan cannot comprehend this. She does not believe it is possible. After all, Huineng was a person of the Tang dynasty period, so the girl does not understand how one can inherit his mantra. Emi asks him if he wants to say that he has become immortal. Young also thinks that this is complete nonsense. The heavenly demon asks Yunwen what he was about to do now and thinks no squads of the boy will work. Yunwen understands that his explanation was not clear enough and that he has not met Huinen personally. The boy insists that he was born on Mount Tai and once, while walking, found traces of his writing in a cave. After that, he went to the cave every day. It was not easy for him to understand the texts, but later, after many years, despite some shortcomings, he was able to embody his legacy in life. Since Hemi personally saw how he does it, she cannot help but believe him. Yoongjul believes that Yunwen really became the owner of a successful acquisition. Yunwen will be grateful in any case if the guys forgive him. The young man replies that they should be careful in how they treat him from now on, and he considers it a blessing of orthodox sex. The boy is interested in what Yoongjul means by careful. Yoongjul tells the boy, in Murim one of the most important things is seniority, and since the boy has a divine Shaolin being as his teacher, they must treat him with respect. Everyone at the table agrees with him. They want to raise their glasses to the acquaintance. Wu Henshin does not like that he is drinking with them. Suddenly some inner voice whispers to him, "Don't be upset, calm down." Yunwen uses remote communication again. He orders the captain to leave if he intends to spoil everyone's mood, and also knows what will happen to him if he carelessly expresses his opinion. The captain knows the guy uses the yin-yang cultivation technique, which separates thoughts and actions. It is hard for him to believe that Yunwen applies such a complex technique so effortlessly. The guy asks Wu, but the captain is already so scared of him that Yunwen clarifies whether there will be no other incidents after this. Captain assures him that nothing like this will happen again. Yunwen suggests he go. After all, he needs to treat his wounds. Wu Henshin thanks him for the care. Zhongjul offered Yunwen to spend the night with them because they have already settled in the neighboring tract. The guy relaxes in the hot spring. He tries to live calmly, but the surrounding world is set against him. The heavenly demon says, "Such is the life of the strong." This time he owes a lot to Huan, and the monk replies that there is nothing here to be thankful for. Yunwen lived a chaotic and difficult day. And suddenly he hears someone calling him the Heavenly Destroyer and ordering him to come to his senses. The young man looks around and sees the blue-faced demon Ha Gunpyo. The young man was very impressed by his appearance. Yunwen did not think that the boy he recently met on the snowy mountain would follow him all the way. Ha Gunpyo asks to become his disciple, calling him a great warrior. The boy says his ears are about to burst and orders him to shut up. The blue-faced demon says once he almost died and for saving his life he will dedicate it to Yunwen. Yunwen considers him hopeless, and the heavenly demon suggests taking Ha Gunpyo as a subordinate. But if he goes with him, he will attract too much attention. The boy came up with a place where he can be sent and said he would take him as a subordinate. On Mount Tai, the No twins are gathering firewood. Huino wonders what the sound is that he has been hearing for a long time. He sees Ha Gunpyo with a huge backpack on his back. The man arrived at the elders and rejoiced that he had finally found this place. Yunwen agreed to take him as a disciple, but with the skills Ha Gunpyo has, he would only be a burden to the boy, so he sends him to train on Mount Tai. The man introduces himself as the worthless Azure King of Demons. By the order of his brightness, he has come to greet his masters on Mount Tai. Huinyu asks who his master is, because this is a place that no one can know about, especially not such a dumb brute. Chuangno sighs and wonders what Yunwen is up to. Meanwhile, he meditates and practices energy control together with Huinen. The elder tells the young man to focus on the flow. It is like a wave, so one must go with it and not against it. The boy tells him to stop. The master's control over internal chi has improved. The demon does not understand why such basic training is necessary. Huinen replies that the basics are very important. The demon also asks the Heavenly Destroyer what he plans to do next. Yunwen has not yet decided. He simply does not know what he wants to do. The heavenly demon says the boy's body is too weak to refine his skills and suggests he make his own plan since the boy still hasn't decided. The young man replies that this only happens in a demon's dreams. Even if he doesn't have big plans, he will still do what his heart tells him. He again does not want to give up on something. Huinin asked the boy not to waste his life on vain obsession and vanity, and this would correspond to the providence of the universe that gave him this power. And the heavenly demon tells him not to give up on anything and to achieve everything he wants. Yunwen thinks he lives with a hooligan and a callous old man. The boy orders them to stop, and in any case, he himself will decide how to live. He says that only part of the memories about martial arts were passed on in the form they are, and the rest as if someone deliberately spoiled. He is curious about what needs to be done for them to become whole again. The heavenly demon believes that this will happen naturally when Chi becomes older and more mature. Then he will be able to fully unite them with Huainan and perform all possible tricks. If Yunwen is killed by a great technique of simulating death before their union, then they will be able to act temporarily without him. And in a state of complete unity, they will be able to free themselves. And the demon desires to seize his body. The boy asks again, and the demon adds that they will be able to go anywhere, both to the underworld and to another body. After the grandfather left, the young man went through a lot. What gnawed him the most was how much he missed him. The old man tells the boy that he will have to take a different path, so he must not return to the world the pain he himself experienced. The grandfather asks, do not become a lad, a demon driven only by revenge, but become a strong man. The boy begged his grandfather not to leave him. The heavenly demon and Huinin noticed that the boy had a bad dream. He was very upset because of it. Yunwen thanks the demon. After all, thanks to his scream, he came to his senses. The demon says, why doesn't the boy thank him later? He notices that someone is approaching and warns Yunwen. The heavenly demon, Huinin, and the young man wait and watch the door. Some girl suddenly drew back the curtain, and the boy still does not realize who could have visited him so late. The boy thinks it is the killer sent by the Northern Blade Association. Ha Gunpyo has probably already gone to Mount Tai. The heavenly demon thinks, judging by the footsteps, it's a girl. Yunwen doesn't understand what he means. He jerked up from the bed. The boy is in shock. He asks Namgun Ayan why she came to him. The girl tells him that since she saw him, she felt they were destined to be together. She takes his hand. Ayan feels if he doesn't gather courage, he will lose him. The demon thinks it's cool, and the monk tells the boy he can't do it. Ayan crawls closer and closer to him and showers him with compliments. Yunwen understands if this girl stays with the two of them any longer, they will both have trouble, so he asks her to return to herself. The girl asks him how he can be so cold to her. She feels as if he hates her. Yunwen denies it. Not his level, says the boy, and she is much taller than him. The boy apologizes and will accept her gestures with a noble heart. Ayan agrees with him. She thinks Yunwen arrived in Muram with great ambitions. The girl understands everything and will return to herself. The boy thanks her for understanding. She is not going to give up on him this time. She will just retreat. Ayan slammed the door, and the young man was still in shock from this situation. The heavenly demon tells him that he is a simpleton because he missed such an opportunity, and the monk, as always, replies contrariwise. He believes that Yunwen did everything right. He gets up from the bed. The demon asks if Yunwen is going to come to her room, and the boy sends him away. Nonsense. He has a lot to do, so he decides to go outside to breathe fresh air. The demon notices that the boy is quite good at the heavenly demon flight technique, and he is curious where he is heading. Living recklessly is cool, but he still needs to sleep. The boy, seeing his grandfather in a dream, remembered the person he needed to meet. He arrived in Kaifeng not just for entertainment. Yunwen arrived at the Guandi temple where a huge statue of a man stands. The demon thought the boy came here to pay respect or something like that. But he came here because the No twins told him that the headquarters of the Beggars Gang is located here. In Beggars Gangs, the number of knots on the belt indicates the person, and on the belts of the two who pressed daggers to his throat, there were 2 knots each. It seems they are informants. The information he heard from Namgun Hukrian is very useful. Bandit asks the boy what business he has here and why he came. Yunwen calls himself Wen Yun and comes to visit the former leader of the Beggars Gang, Mr. Pang Chingo. They recoiled from him as soon as they heard his name. One of the bandits decided that Wen Yun might be the great warrior, Jade Divine Dragon. The boy does not remember where he got this nickname from, but he really is Wen Yun. The bandits ask, wasn't he the one who caused a scuffle with the Northern Blade Association yesterday in the Pavilion of Neutrality? The youth confirms their suspicion. Yunwen expected this. The twins warned that the Beggars Gang has eyes and ears everywhere and they know everything. Now the guys spoke kindly, follow them. The youth looks around in the reception of the gang's headquarters. The man in rags apologizes to him for the rough reception at the entrance. He replies that it's nothing. He sees 3 knots on the man, which means he holds a fairly high position in the sect. He is curious about what business Yunwen has with their sect leader. Yunwen extends to him the emperor's medallion. If shown to the leader, he will immediately understand why the boy came here. The man asks him to wait. He will immediately inform the great sect leader about the boy's arrival. The youth wonders why the bandit is doing him a favor asking for nothing. He is curious about the reason behind this. The Beggars Gang and the Northern Blade Association are enemies in Kaifeng, and the fact that Yunwen humiliated them is good news for the Beggars Gang. Although he does not know what connection he has with them and their leader, they are still interested in what Yunwen will do. Therefore, the boy should not feel indebted to him. The man is leaving and asks the youth to feel at home here. The boy thinks that in any case, even if it is not obvious, the structure of their central office is impressive, unlike their appearance, a gang of paupers to be reckoned with. He will have to pay dearly if he looks at them as mere beggars. Suddenly, some old man sharply appears before the boy. He asks Yunwen if he is the one who brought this token. Yunwen notices many knots on the old man's belt. The old man asks the boy if he is the young master who brought this medallion. The boy confirms this. Hun Chin-ho kneels and greets the youth, calling him emperor. He asks his worthless subject to forgive him for betrayal. Yunwen is shocked and does not understand what is happening. From now on, he intends to risk his own life to keep his majesty afloat. The boy was waiting for this because he had already heard about him. The No twins told him before his departure to go to Kaifeng to meet with the gang leader and that he would need to use the emperor's token again. The young man realized that he is not even worthy to be compared to his grandfather. Hun Chin-go asks if everything is all right with Hui No and Huang No. Yunwen has no doubt that it is, even though a lot of time has passed since he last saw them. The old man asks the emperor to speak to him more calmly. But it is more convenient for the boy, especially since he is no longer the emperor, so Pun is not obliged to be so polite to him. Hun Chin-go tells the boy that he and the No twins are the only forces that Emperor Taezu has placed in Jianghu. The old man says, if he had not placed the order, they would support him at any time and do everything possible for this. Yunwen replies to the old man that he no longer intends to engage in politics. His uncle is now the hero of this era, so the young man has no desire to get involved in family disputes again. Hun Chin-go understands him and asks what the boy plans to do in that case. Although the boy is no longer the emperor, he cannot live a poor life. This is why he contemplates to rule Jianghu as its emperor. The guy says if the gang of beggars and the No twins unite their forces, then most sects in Jianghu will not be able to offer worthy resistance. Nothing is impossible to make great powers surrender. Yunwen asks Pun if he can arrange a bloodbath for him. The old man asks again if he is really sure. The guy confirms. And their gang of beggars has no connection even with the alliance of 9 sects with the 9 orthodox alliances, and asks the boy if he knows why. The young man replied that he does not know, and the old man says it is so that their gang remains independent. Despite the fact that their gang is scattered all over Jianghu, if the gang members want to throw themselves into the fiery pit and carry out his order, they need colossal strength and determination. However, they do everything in the name of the heavenly order. If Yunwen orders it, then even when it is wrong, they will carry it out without unnecessary questions. As was fitting for his grandfather, he had truly loyal subordinates. He could have simply brushed off the rude request of a little boy, but he did not back down from himself despite being a powerful leader. The more he learns about him, the more he understands how incredible his grandfather was. The boy apologizes to Pun and says it was just a joke. The old man was embarrassed and now thinks he showed inattention, but he did not know it was a joke. Yunwen says everything is fine, and the old man's words on the contrary gave him a lot of confidence. He asks if the old man will listen to his request again later when the time comes and he needs help. The old man confidently agrees with the young man. Huni asks the boy what happened because rumors say he mastered Shaolin martial arts and his name is already quite well known throughout Kaifeng. Yunwen says that it is too long to explain better. He listens to it from the No twins, and the boy asks if the old man will be present at the grand banquet, the righteous path. Hun's student will participate, and if Yunwen also goes, the old man will keep him company. In that case, the boy says they will see each other later and is already about to leave, but the old man asks him to wait a minute. Hun pressed on the stone and asked the former emperor to follow him. He wants to show something to the young man. The boy passes by him and is shocked by what he sees. The room is full of weapons. The demon immediately notices this. The old man tells the boy that these are weapons from the Han era and their appearance makes the heart tremble. Yunwen nods along with him. This is truly an impressive arsenal, and asks how much further they have to go. Hun says that they have arrived. The boy opened his mouth wide and froze in genuine surprise. The old man preserved what Emperor Tezu acquired and now thinks it is time for these beautiful swords to find their rightful owner. The demon and the monk are also stunned. It seems the heavenly demon is familiar with these swords. The boy does not understand why they made such a fuss. He notices that there is something strange about these swords. Hun asks the young man to choose whatever he likes. The boy ponders which sword to choose. The demon and Huineng argue. The demon pulls for the boy to take the black sword and the monk asks him to take the white one, but Yunwen asks Pun if he can take both. The old man laughs and says, well, why not? The swords belong to Yunwen anyway, he can take them. The demon thinks his greed knows no bounds, and the monk believes even one of these swords is too much. The boy does not understand why Huinen and the heavenly demon are so flustered, and asks the leader of the beggars if he knows anything about the origin of these swords. As far as the old man knows, the dark sword is the heavenly demonic sword, and the white one is the Ganjiang sword. Now the youth realized why the demon made such a fuss, because it was his sword. He asked about the white Ganjiang sword. The old man replied, this sword was created by a great master and it is also called the Emperor's sword. The boy looks at his swords and he is drawn to the Emperor's sword. He arrived at the hotel where the others were staying. Zhang Jiul asks Yunwen where he had been. The boy felt a bit stuffy, so he decided to take a walk. He noticed his swords. She had not seen them last night. He says he found them by accident and there is nothing special about them. The girl does not think so, they look like jewels. Zhang tells the others, the time of the great tournament has come, it is time for you to go. Zhang Jiul suggests to the young master when to go with them. Zai Gong from Shaolin said he would also attend the grand tournament. The boy considers Yunwen incredible, and one day he received the title of Divine Dragon with a jade face. His fame has already spread throughout Kaifeng and probably many will be watching the young man during the tournament. Guy is flattered that people think so highly of him, and Ayan admires him. Girl says there is nothing insignificant about him. Yunwen can't shake the feeling that something is wrong. He thanks the lady for the compliment. In any case, he can't believe that he can see such a huge stage from such a distance. The Northern Blade Association is a leading organization both in name and in essence, the largest of the Big Four Orthodox sects. It includes the Coalition of Southern Blades, the League of Five Clans, and the Alliance of Nine Orthodox. The Three Swords of Tianqian are directly subordinate to the head of the association. Send to the Hall of the Guardians, the Hall of the Demonic Sword, the Hall of the Bloody Sword, and the Hall of the Heavenly Sword. Below these four stand the advisor, the general officer, and the inspector. The Iron Brigade is directly under the general's command. In total, the number of soldiers exceeds 5,000 men, excluding the band of beggars. This is the strongest and most numerous force. The current Northern Blade organization is very aggressive, but Zhang Jiula is now most concerned about the halls of the demonic and bloody swords. Yunwen noticed these names and it doesn't seem to him that they resemble those that Orthodox sects should use. Guy confirms his suspicion. At first they were the most famous assassins of the Dark Path and later they were recruited by the association. Their harsh nature did not change after they joined the Northern Blade Association. Their Five Clans League and the Southern Blade Coalition expressed their dissatisfaction about this, but the Northern Blades Association simply dismissed them. As a result, the Five Clans League and the Northern Blade Association were never on good terms again. Yunwen also noticed that former members of the Dark Path who joined the association would have to fight the Dark Path, and this seems contradictory. In any case, the pavilion is huge, it probably cost a lot of money. Hang Zhang says, rumors say it cost 100,000 gold taels. Guy looked as if struck by thunder at the heard sum. He doesn't understand where they got such money from. Zhang Jiul talks about their main income sources. The primary source is the cargo delivery business. They also have taverns, wine shops, pawn shops, and similar businesses. The young man looked around to make sure no one heard and whispered into Yunwen's ear. The Dark Path should be a balm to their eyes because most of these enterprises were run by the Dark Path sects. Yunwen understood getting rid of the Dark Path and monopolizing these profits would definitely mean a colossal amount of money for them. Someone riding a horse gallops and shouts to passers-by, "Get out of the way." Some had blood come from their ears because the shout was filled with chi energy. Emi is curious who this person is. Yunwen does not move away from the road and stands straight right in front of the approaching horse. Steed does not understand why he is standing like a pillar. Girl and Zhang Jiul shout to him that it is dangerous. The heavenly demon also does not understand his actions. Could it be that the boy is going to fight the horse? Yunwen is annoyed by this recklessness. Guys shout to him again about the danger. The rider easily jumps over him. In midair she exchanges glances with him. He landed and dashed away. The boy is in shock. The horse jumped so high that it seemed to him as if it was flying. Hemi says that it was not for nothing that he pretended to be cool, and Ayan asks if he is okay. Demon also laughs at him and does not understand why he tried to look cool. Yunwen notices he was an incredible man. Such skill in horse riding is rare even in the army. He did not think he would see such horsemanship art in Jianghu, where people are less trained in it. Moreover, the rider was a girl. The boy thinks that this huge queue is for the tournament, and Zhang Jiul thinks the same. Emi is tired. She says why they have to wait after being invited. Brother asks her to be more polite. The guy said to Zhang Jiulu, there is no need here. He noticed someone in the crowd. The heir of the Namgun clan does not understand what he is talking about. Yunwen apparently noticed Captain Wu and is waving his hand at him. The captain does not believe and does not understand why the boy is here at all. The young man, using the transmission with sound, orders him to hurry and come to them. Wu greets him and says he should have done it earlier. Wu understood. Yunwen came to the grand tournament together with members of the League of 5 Clans. The young man asks to help the captain because their time is too valuable to stand in line. He squeezes his shoulder and asks if the captain will help the guys. Wu Henshin kindly agrees and says that they are not strangers. The boy apologizes to the warrior for the constant requests. Wu mutters that these are trifles, and Hemi is glad that she won't have to stand in line. The company entered the pavilion on the embankment. The captain asks them not to be shy and to stay here. 2 men notice Yunwen and discuss him from a distance. One of them counts the mandate squad and says that Wu Henshin is not himself after all. He was humiliated by some simple brat. Another mysterious old man scrutinizes and searches to see if this brat is really the jade-faced divine dragon. It turned out that he is the leader of the association. The soldiers who were whispering and gossiping froze in surprise. The old man tells the young man not to take courage upon himself because he came here after what he did. The mandate squad beat half of their own members. They had to pay compensation to the hotel, and they also missed the daughter of the leader of the Demon King clan, Sol Ken-ik. The heavenly destroyer has already caused them great harm, and the inhabitants of Jianghu began to look down on the Northern Blade Association. They cannot forgive him. The leader of the association asks to quietly bring Yunwen. He will pay for disgracing the Northern Blade Association. The guys from the League of 5 together with Yunwen sat in their seats. The boy noticed that the arena was full of people. He wondered if they were all representatives of the orthodox path. Advisor So Cho-nak, nicknamed Three-Eyed Heavenly Head, stepped into the center of the arena and declared that today at this meeting they intend to discuss 2 things. First, to destroy the forces threatening the well-being of Miriam. Second, to attract talents to fulfill this most important role. While the demonic path has not strengthened and sown chaos in Miriam again, on behalf of the Northern Blade Association, he primarily offers him to take care of them. Everyone in the arena rejoices and supports this. Yunwen listens to his proposal and the boy does not understand. Could they really have gathered so many people from orthodox sects to talk about something like this? The young man asks Zhang Jiul who this is. He is told that this is Advisor So Cho. He asked the descendant of the Namgun clan if their goal was not too obvious. Zhang Jiul agrees with him, but despite this, no one can object without careful consideration. The boy is sure. Northern Blade has already secured the support of some sects. Their agreement now is no more than formal approval, and if there is any variable, it is only in how other key forces in the orthodox path will react. The advisor shouts loudly, ordering all Miriam to consider this proposal. People rejoice and agree to submit to the demonic path. The demon says how well their scenario is written. The young man agrees, saying this is simply ridiculous. The monk arrived at the association pavilion. Yunwen noticed that the atmosphere had completely changed. Venerable Zigong, the Shaolin overseer who watches over the commandments, arrived, and while Zhang Jiul was talking about it, Ayan was intently watching Yunwen. The heavenly demon says to Huinan it seems Zigong is his grand disciple, and the monk also notices this. Zigong introduces himself before everyone in the hall. The boy thinks that the representative from Shaolin is indistinguishable from the ox of the 9 Orthodox Alliance. The monk thanks the representative of the Northern Blades for such a wonderful proposal. The old man disagrees with this. Everyone is shocked by the words of the Shaolin overseer. He does not deny that the proposal to unite the Northern Blades demonstrates dedication to the well-being of Miriam, but everything is subject to the laws of nature. Zigong says it is not worth provoking members of the demonic path while they are occupied with their affairs. Miriam is at peace when the demonic and orthodox paths are equal. Even in the darkest times of Murim, when the ruler was the heavenly demon, even if the generosity of these people was minimal, it was precisely thanks to this orthodox path that they managed to endure and survive. The same applies to members of the demonic path. Moreover, if they claim to be representatives of the orthodox path, then they absolutely cannot commit such foolishness. Therefore, members of Shaolin and the 9 orthodox sects oppose the proposal to unite the Northern Blades. Zhang Jiul is surprised that the alliance of 9 orthodox sects publicly and officially expressed their disagreement. Huinan is glad that the power of Shaolin is still alive, and the heavenly demon is happy because the old man knows how strong the demon was. The boy asks the heavenly demon what is wrong with him since he once led Murim and was lonely. The heavenly demon replied that the world simply could not leave him alone. He remembered his numerous followers at that moment. He tells Yunwen that in the future he will be able to introduce him to them, the members of the heavenly demonic cult. The young man replies, they have all been dead for a long time. Zhang Jiul thought that only the League of 5 Clans would oppose the proposal of the Northern Blades Association. In that case, only the Southern Blades Coalition remains. Yunwen recalled that the boy told him, the relations between the Yunjiang Coalition and the Northern Blades are very far from good. In that case, if they also do not agree, their proposal will be powerless. Zhang Jiul thinks that the leaders of the orthodox sects will gather to reach a consensus. Since many sects have already been subdued, eventually everything will go as the Northern Blade Association wants, but the fact that 3 of the 4 main forces of the orthodox path express their opposition will likely have significant consequences. As Namgun Hyakrion said, the League of 5 Clans also rejected the association's proposal. The patriarch of the Hebei Peng family stands confidently, showing no emotion. Only the Southern Blade Coalition remains. Even if they oppose, the Northern Blade Association will still achieve consensus. A man with a huge sword stands aside and watches. This will simply become a decision without any justification. Moreover, the position of the Northern Blade Association will be significantly shaken. Therefore, all attention of those present at the conference was focused on the representative of the Southern Blades Coalition. Yunwen notices that this person looks quite strong. Gu Ryang Jajim also opposes the Northern Blade Association's proposal. Hyakron expected this, but Yunwen is surprised. Gu Ryang stands next to the advisor of the Northern Blade Association. He asks Gu Ryang, isn't this different from what they agreed on earlier? The elder knows this and looks at the advisor with contempt. Gu Ryang asks not to misunderstand his words. This is his personal opinion. Guys do not understand what he is talking about. Representative of the Southern Blades Coalition states that the position of their coalition generally supports the proposal of the Northern Blades Association. Everyone in the arena is shocked and glad that they united for a common cause. Gu Ryan asks So Cho if this is enough and steps back. The advisor thinks about what a bastard he is because he scared him for no reason. Yunwen does not understand what the representative of the Southern Blades Coalition is talking about because he personally opposes it, but the coalition supports it. Hyakrion also thinks that there is no sense in this. He cannot believe that the Southern Blades Coalition agreed to the proposal from the Northern Blades Association. Hemi is amused at the representatives of both sides. She finds it funny that one is laughing loudly while the other is crying. It is already sunset. The guys have left the pavilion. Yunwen does not understand why the conference will end like this. The guy expected something more from it. Hyakrion asked what he means. As an example, the guy cites how one person argues with another who disagrees with your opinion. The guy replies, are not all martial arts masters in Murim so ruthless? If so, what he meant should disappoint Yunwen. The heavenly demon tells the heavenly destroyer that he agrees with him because this snot-nosed kid doesn't even know the law of survival of the strongest. After the demon's words, the boy felt uncomfortable for thinking that way. The demon thinks that Yunwen should feel the true rule of Murim. Weak die becoming prey to the strong, and the strongest survive. He wants to teach this boy everything and make him his successor. Ayanin asks the heavenly demon, and again treacherous thoughts rush to the head. Yunwen wonders where the orthodox path will lead next. After all, the thoughts of the 4 great powers have split into 2 camps. Hyakrion says that it will depend on the vote of each representative of the sects of the orthodox path tonight. Yunwen realizes today's results will decide whether the demonic path will be conquered. The soldiers are asking the guys from behind who among them is the Jade Divine Dragon. Yunwen turns around and says this, and that guy asks what exactly they want. Soldiers say the leader of the Northern Blade Association called him and asks him to go with them. Daejong thinks that it is Rudethi must inform them of the reason. Since he has no relation to this, the soldier tells Jianghu to step aside. Jiang is angry at his arrogance and Yunwen exhales, saying that he is fine. The boy understood there is no other choice, he has to let himself be dragged along because, it seems, the matter is urgent. The soldier in the middle tells the boy that he is a rare young man, talking nonsense despite the fact that he himself knows where they are. The boy says that everyone who came here knows what this place is. Monk Zigong apologizes for the intrusion but is in a hurry, so he asks for understanding. He ran here in a rush because there was not much time, the vote is ahead. He heard that the one who inherited the mantras of the venerable Huineng is here, so he came here. Soldiers do not understand what he means. The monk tells Yunwen, relying on rumors, the roots of his martial arts go back to the 6th patriarch Huineng, a great warrior, and if this is true, the young man will become their martial uncle. Hyakrion understands him and understands how he himself did not guess this, while Yunwen stands embarrassed. Huineng is the founder of Shaolin, and therefore Yunwen can hold a high position in Shaolin. But if it turns out that the boy used false information, it will be considered an insult to Shaolin and Jiagong will not be able to leave it unpunished. Yunwen feels incredible pressure from him. The heavenly demon is noticed thanks to the monk's power. Huineng also sees a huge amount of unrestrained energy. The boy smiles and asks him how he can prove it. Monk's face changes when Yunwen shows his strength. Yunwen asks if the old man will believe him if the boy shows his skills right here. Monk said he would like to see that. But now the old man has no time, there are other obligations, but he asks the boy to show his arts in their main temple. The young man bows to the monk and accepts his offer. Jiagong says he will visit their temple at any free time the boy has. The soldiers are shocked the boy managed to rise to a high position in Shaolin. They are curious who he is. The guys say even though the dispute with the Northern Blades Association was settled by the monk, they are still offended because of the incident with the Mandate Squad. Yunwen wants to know what he should do. Hyakrion knows the strength of the young master, but since this is still the territory of the Northern Blade, he asks the boy to be careful. And honestly, it was the members of the League of 5 Clans who initiated the conflict, so their hearts will be calm if the boy is safe. The boy takes this into account and asks them not to worry. On the way back home, the Heavenly Destroyer was immersed in deep thoughts. Power that seized control and led history was not necessarily considered righteous, and the measure of value could vary depending on perspective. Considering this moment, he held no grudge against his uncle. The boy was weak and useless, so the uncle pushed him aside. In a certain sense, it was simply nature taking its course. If his uncle had been a tyrant, his position would have changed, but the uncle he knew was not that foolish. When the Heavenly Destroyer learned to calmly think about his uncle, he was suddenly enlightened. He has a balance among his 3 own personalities. He is impartial to anything. On the other hand, the current Murim is unbalanced. In the world of Murim, perhaps this strange equilibrium is the path he should follow. The boy lies on the street under a pavilion on the embankment. He is bored. He wants to find out the results of the vote. Suddenly, someone rushes past him like a bullet. He noticed the exquisite art of body lightning, but this is the Northern Blade Association. He does not understand who it could be. Yunwen decides to chase after him. Judging by his skillful movements, this person is truly extraordinary. The mysterious man jumps straight to the 9-story pavilion of the Divine Sword. In Murim, there were only 2 people with such a nickname. One of them is the current leader of the 5 Clans League, Divine Sword of the Azure Sky, Namgun HWI. And the other Lord of the Pavilion, the leader of the Northern Blades Association, the Supreme Divine Sword Dugu Henshin. He was the youngest of the 4 leaders of the Great Orthodox Powers, and some Murim called him the King of Swords. Of course, both father and son. The father, former leader of the Northern Blade Association, Emperor of the Hidden Dragons Dugu Zhen, was also a force unmatched. After he passed the position of head of the association, he suddenly disappeared, and rumors say that the Emperor of the Hidden Dragons Dugu Zhen is somewhere teaching his grandson the ascending sword of the Heavenly Dragon Dugu Wu. Regardless, Dugu Henshin had full control over the Northern Blades Association as its leader. Yunwen noticed that the one he was following entered the building, a house, a very expensive building. Moreover, dozens of people were stationed around the building, all at master level. Apparently, they are guarding the person inside. If not, this man is being held in prison. In any case, Yunwen is dying of curiosity. He does not know how to act because if he is caught, he might be recorded as a violator. The young man asks the heavenly demon what he can do to sneak into the building unnoticed. Maybe the demon has some abilities for this. Demon says, "Why is that?" and the boy is already using it. Yunwen thinks that the heavenly demon means hidden arts, but he believes masters of that level will definitely notice him. The demon says not to underestimate his skills and just put all his chi into pushing his ability to the limit. Yunwen tells him that he is showing off. After the heavenly destroyer burst into Jianghu, this was the first time he used the heavenly demonic hidden art at the limit. The heavenly demon's hidden art, in which he spent more than 300 years of his internal chi, allowed him to pass through any place if there was a very small gap. And he passes by any person unnoticed even if they had strong internal chi and both eyes open. The boy sneaks into the building and looks closely at the one he was chasing. As expected, this person had business here. Girl calls her subordinate Hwansu. The boy calls out and greets his mistress. Yunwen suddenly blushes sharply from embarrassment. The mistress comes out of the bath, covering herself with only a towel. The warrior apologizes to his mistress. The girl says that this is unlike him. She does not understand why he was pacing around and around. The lady asks to tell everything as it is, hiding nothing. Hwansu tells her about some man who is incredibly obsessed with women. He attacks them with full readiness, kills them, and the surrounding villages are already full of people who resent him. They say the young leader of the Southern Blades Coalition is a degenerate. Spy asks the mistress about her further plans. She can do nothing. This marriage will be concluded for the sake of politics, so that the alliance with the Southern Blades Coalition will happen. This will be no different from a girl being sold by her father, and moreover, her marriage partner will turn out to be a scoundrel. Yunwen heard and immediately understood. This is the daughter of the leader of the Northern Blades Association. Now the boy realized why the representative of the Southern Blades Coalition made such a remark. He is shocked that they will unite through marriage. Judging by what he heard about her fiancé, a real piece of shit, the guy doesn't understand. Could the leader of the Northern Blade Association really give his daughter into the hands of such a person? Young man thinks about his cold-bloodedness. Vansa in the lady's place would have refused this. The girl asks her subordinate if he will help her escape if she wants to. The warrior confidently replies that his duty is to protect her, and he will always be by her side. The lady thanks him and orders him to leave. She wants to be alone. Vansa, using his skills, quickly moved away from her. After he left, the girl exhaled, sat on the edge of the chair, and began to cry. The guy feels sorry for her. He can understand the girl's helplessness because he was once like that himself. Aimlessly drifting in the whirlwind of fate, he could only cry. Yunwen tried with all his might to hold on by a thread. Fortunately, he was saved then by a lucky coincidence left by his grandfather. The boy does not understand what to do. He wants to help this lady. The girl wants her older brother to be here right now. Yunwen approaches the girl, who is sobbing. She twitches and shouts, "Who is he?" The young man uses precise safe strikes. The lady noticed that her body was paralyzed and she could not move. The young man assures the girl that he means her no harm and does not intend to cause pain. He calls himself the Jade Divine Dragon, tracking the night traveler, and accidentally ended up here. He accidentally heard about her situation and decided to help her. Now Yunwen will release the pressure from the points and asks her not to scream. Since her points are blocked, she cannot express her opinion. After he unlocked her points, she jumped up from the chair and tried to slap him. The lady notices his speed. Yunwen asks her if he should have responded to that slap. She asks his name again and questions whether he even understands what he is doing right now. The man apologizes for being a bit extreme, but he was serious when he spoke about helping. The young man says it would be better if she fixed her clothes. Fortunately, it does not at all look like she is going to scream. The girl adjusted her robe and asks how the boy can help her. Yunwen does not know exactly how, but he can do everything she asks. She asks him again, really everything. The guy confirms, telling her just to say it, and he will do it immediately. The lady does not understand who he is. He just appeared out of nowhere and offers his help to a stranger. She sees how he easily penetrated the abode of the water fire and realizes he is not an ordinary person. She is not sure she can trust someone like him. She smiles and slightly twitched the corner of her lips. The young man does not understand what is funny about it. Not long ago she was hanging by a thread. It was quite amusing to watch how she pondered when suddenly a rope fell in front of her. Yunwen does not understand what threads and rope she is talking about. Whether it is a strong rope or a thin thread, she suggests the boy secretly check it in practice. Her name is Dugu Zulan. If he can get her out of the Northern Blade Association, the girl will be grateful to him forever. The boy understood everything and asks her to put on comfortable clothes because they are leaving right now. The girl cannot go now and asks the young man to come tomorrow at the same time. He does not understand why exactly tomorrow and not today. Meanwhile, in the pavilion on the embankment, what the heavenly destroyer did not expect happened. Ayan came to his chambers. She does not understand why he still has not returned to the pavilion. They were returning together. She checked on him every 15 minutes, but he was still not there. Ian thought that those guys from the Northern Blade Association had kidnapped the boy and rushed to her brother. Hyakrian thought so too. They needed to be more careful. The young man then noticed that these guys were not at all friendly. He reproaches himself for not noticing. These soldiers are not the kind to retreat immediately, and he made a mistake. Young asks Hyakrian what they can come up with. He must report the boy's disappearance this very minute. Namga and Hyakrian immediately reported the boy's disappearance, the masters of the 5 Clans League. The news was also delivered to the 9 Orthodox Alliance. Jayagun thought so. He did not believe they would act right before the monk's eyes. If Yunwen really inherited the mantras of Grandmaster Huainan, then most people in the Northern Blade Association will be able to handle it. Nevertheless, the fact that the young man disappeared out of nowhere means the leader of the association may be directly involved in this. The monk's subordinate asks what they should do. Jayagung wants to simply observe the situation at first and not rush. Hyakrion says that they had a small conflict with the commander of the Mandate Squad of the Northern Blade Association at their inn. Abe Peng thinks that this guy might have become a victim of a conspiracy by the Northern Blade Association. Suddenly someone shouts and they all turn around in shock. King of Beggars has arrived. He asks them who became the victim of whom. The old man asks to be told everything in detail. The leader of the Northern Blade Association, Dugu Henshin, does not understand what the leader of the big gang is doing here. This old man has never crossed his path since the father of the current leader left his post. The man does not understand what suddenly brought the leader of the beggars here. Suddenly he rushed away in panic. One of the soldiers does not understand, even if this is the head of the big gang, why the leader is in such a hurry. The second tells him he knows nothing. The head of the great gang and the former leader of the association, the emperor of the hidden dragons, best friends bound by special relationships. Even from the perspective of position, the gang leader is senior in rank in Muram, so the association leader ran barefoot onto the street. The man asks the old man to calm down. They are already combing through the entire Northern Blades Association. The gang leader scolds the association leader like a child. The old man does not understand how 15,000 soldiers cannot find one person. He declares that if anything happens to this person, even if he has to mobilize all 100,000 worthless soldiers, not a single blade of grass or bone will be left unnoticed in the Northern Blades Association. The association leader does not understand who this guy is if the gang leader calls him this man. And the respected Zigong probably also knows that the man called Yunwen. The man does not understand why, even when circumstances arouse suspicion, he says nothing. He also heard rumors that the boy inherited the mantras of Master Huainan. If this is true, he does not understand why Shaolin has not raised an uproar yet. The man sitting next to the monk does not understand who this boy is, why such a fuss was made because of him. Abe Peng snorts at Dugu Henshin. He always kept his composure, but now stands like a boy. The old man asks Peng whom he is mocking and why his father did not teach him manners. The man quickly apologizes to the elder. Meanwhile, Yunwen had already approached the pavilion on the embankment. He does not understand why the girl decided on tomorrow specifically, and the boy hopes that she will not betray him. The heavenly demon wonders if the heavenly destroyer really intends to do what this lady commands him. The demon thought, could it be that he has fallen in love with her, and the strange thing is not even that, but that she entrusted such an important task to a person she barely knows. The boy tells the heavenly demon that he cannot understand him, and that he should try to understand her. Moreover, he does not want to think that these eyes have deceived him. The demon shouts about the futility of love and considers the boy a fool because the girl might make him an enemy in the future. Yunwen says that it is none of his business. Huinan remains silent, and the demon grows increasingly furious. That is why the demon does not trust such young people, but time cannot be wasted. The demon's name must be made known throughout Muram again. The boy asks the soldier why they are all so flustered. The man replies that due to one missing person, an order was issued about a first-level emergency and they have to find him, but they do not even know what he looks like. The young man realized that they were looking for him. The leader of the association asks the advisor about news, and he replies that there is nothing yet. Pen does not consider it a problem. He had an argument with the advisor over the disappearance of the boy. From what I heard, Pen humiliated the association. That's why they decided to remove him. The old man shouts, "Shut up, or are you already ready to fight?" Yunwen entered the pavilion and asks everyone what is happening here. The gang leader falls to his knees before him, calling him master. All the leaders are in shock. They do not understand why the old man treats Yunwen this way. The boy asks the gang leader to stand up. The association leader knows gang leader Pang Chongho is one of the strongest Murim elders of this era, both in name and in reality, and this majestic gang leader has just knelt down. Man cannot comprehend who this young man really is. Yunwen asks Pan to do something. Everyone is now suspicious. The old man wriggles, mumbling that out of nervousness he blurted out that he is his master. The guy nods to him. The big gang leader always treated him like his own grandson. Gang leader was worried about the boy. Everyone in the hall does not understand what is happening here. The boy apologizes to all the members of the Murim Alliance for making them worry. The leader of the Northern Blade Association suggests leaving this commotion aside and moving to another place. Everyone gathered around the table with food. The banquet began and passed in a friendly atmosphere, yet there were two people who felt uneasy as if they were sitting on cushions stuffed with spikes. Hyakrian stands confused and does not understand what he forgot here. Yunwen was also worried, so they even gave him an honorary place. Thanks to the words "my lord" from the king of the beggars Peng Chunho, the great leader of the beggar gang, these two are invited to the banquet along with the masters of each sect. Of course, all attention was focused on the heavenly destroyer of heavens, but he calmly averted his gaze. The boy thought so, and a hole appeared on his face. The leader of the Northern Blade Association does not understand what past the boy has if even the king of beggars calls him "my lord." Peng asks Hyakrian if he has seen with his own eyes how the boy uses martial arts. The youth confirms. The boy looks at the situation already complicated with disappointment, and it becomes even more complicated. For Hyakrian, it was an incredible experience to see lost skills of the great Huainan used right before his eyes. Yunwen refuses, insisting that he was just lucky to come across such a person. Moreover, the respected Jiagong did not confirm his skills. The leader of the bandits says if this is confirmed, the youth will be able to take the highest status in Shaolin. And the youth has no intention of tolerating such treatment. The monk adds what the great band leader said, all true. The sixth ancestor Huainan is the great martial uncle of their temple. If confirmed, Yunwen will receive a title in Shaolin at the level of monk Jiangun. The leader of the Northern Blade Association and the coalition of Southern Blades is shocked by such a development. After the story that the Heaven Destroyer can receive the same title as Jiagong, everyone at the banquet became even more interested. Peng does not think this is very different from taking the highest position in the orthodox Murim sects. Yunwen asks not to say that because he is just a novice having just arrived in Jianghu. The association leader does not understand where this boy came from. There were only rumors about martial arts. The man had no idea that the guy would turn out to be the heir of the mantras of the great master Huainan. Shaolin is the spiritual support of the orthodox Murim path. Their connections go beyond imagination, and the Beggars Gang is said to have the greatest power and the most extensive intelligence network in Murim. Ashtin urgently needs their help to defeat Murim. The leader of the association is glad he did not get involved with Yunwen. It could have turned into a colossal headache. He needs to persuade this guy to maintain good relations with the gang leader, because at such moments the association leader regrets not having another daughter. At that time, everyone was absorbed in their own thoughts. The name Wenian was etched into the memory of every master of every sect. And the voting result, which was difficult to determine, ended with 70% in favor of the Northern Blade proposal. Since there were no grounds for opposition, all power was transferred to the Northern Blade Union. For the first time in a 1,000-year history, the moment came when orthodox sects announced the conquest of the demonic path, and it was then that the most powerful group in Murim history was born. The Alliance of the Righteous Path Murim. Yunwen asked the demon to teach him how to use the sword, because tonight there is a rebellion in which he participates, and now that he has his own swords, he wants to learn how to wield them. The heavenly demon replies that when it comes to swords, he is the best. He tells the boy swing the sword in the air. Now do everything possible to throw the sword as far as possible. The young man launched the sword into flight. Demon shouts, turn it back. Yunwen is worried and does not understand how to do it. Sword spinning gets stuck in a bamboo branch. The heavenly demonic sword can pierce even etheranium iron, but now the young man is unable to use it even to cut bamboo. Since the sword flew 31 meters, Yunwen's internal chi energy was exhausted, and that is why the sword ended up in such a position. For now, this is the limit of the boy's internal chi. At this level, what he just did was nothing more than fencing. The young man does not understand the demon's language. The heavenly demon asks him what, in Yunwen's opinion, is the highest level of sword mastery. Boy notices that the demon has taken the role of teacher very seriously. He knows almost nothing about it. The highest level is the realm where true chi fully connects with the energy of the universe through the sword, and when he reaches the highest level, he will be able to master the true power of chi that controls the sword. Yunwen poorly understands the demon's examples. The heavenly demon says there is nothing complicated about this, and for now suggests he first reach the level of the immaterial sword. The young man trains to master the sword. He thinks that this time he managed to apply the enhanced sword chi. The demon is still dissatisfied the current sword-enhanced chi cannot destroy the mighty sword veil. The heavenly demon orders him to slash his enhanced sword chi, transform it into a sword surge. Yunwen concentrates chi power in his hand. He releases a powerful burst of energy. The demon can hardly believe that the boy immediately executed the sword surge like that. The young man is completely exhausted after training and asks the heavenly demon what level he has reached. His skill level went beyond the immaterial sword. The boy is stunned, judging by how the demon said it. There are several spheres beyond this. The sphere that goes beyond the immaterial sword and transforms part of nature into a sword is called the sword of nature. Yunwen thinks joking. He does not understand how this is possible. But the heavenly demon is not joking. He asks to imagine as if he transforms rainwater into a sword rain. The chi army, hundreds of thousands of people, was destroyed in an instant. The same can be done with other weather phenomena. The boy does not believe that it is possible. The demon convinces him otherwise. The demon could not explain to him the next level of the sphere. He just thought about it. The young man wonders if there is a sphere beyond the immaterial sword and the sword of nature, and if it is even possible. The heavenly demon talks about the universal sword and believes that this sphere definitely exists. Yet this is not what Yunwen should worry about now, when he becomes strong enough to attract the attention of these people. Yunwen does not understand who he is talking about. He thinks it is about martial arts masters. Demon states that they have nothing to do with Muram. The heavenly demon tells the young man that they must unite into one whole despite everything. The young man is shocked. The head of the Northern Blade Association invited only him to lunch. The boy knew after the words of the beggar Pang and the respected Jiagong, they would be even more interested in them. Who would have thought that the leader of the association would show such initiative? Yunwen wants to take advantage of this chance. Dugu Henshin specially prepared something for the two of them today. The man hopes that it will not cause the boy any inconvenience. Yunwen thanks him for the invitation here. The boy considers this place stunning to such an extent that he almost wants to join them. The leader of the association thinks, since he cannot get rid of the youth, he must accept him. The man replies to the boy, if he really decides to stay with them, they can build a new pavilion of the divine sword for him. The boy jokes, saying that there is no need to build a new pavilion, the leader can simply move. The cultivator smiles in response, but the thought of the youth's audacity spins in his head and he does not want to give up his pavilion. Yunwen says that it is just a joke and also notices, the man is good at saying things he does not mean. After this journey, probably Yunwen got hungry. The leader of the association invited him to the table, and the boy was shocked because he had never seen such dishes. When he was emperor, he was fed 3 times a day. Considering that there are many dishes whose ingredients the youth could not even know, the leader of the association must lead an extravagant life. The man asks to help himself and can assure that their chefs are more talented than the chefs of the imperial palace. The leader of the association asks everyone to help themselves. He assures that his chefs are more talented than those of the emperor himself. Yunwen angrily asks, really, and begins to get angry for no reason. He asks, is it true that you intend to seize the syndicate of the demonic path? The man replies that this issue was already resolved during the voting of the Orthodox sects. This is exactly what all the residents of Jianghu want, so they have no choice but to comply. The boy considers him a disgusting freak. After all, it was his initiative. He wants to find out if they have any specific plan. The association leader says it will happen as soon as the Muram alliance is formed. He thinks it will take at least a year. The base of the demonic cult is located in Hangzhou, but they have secret branches scattered throughout the territory, so it may take more time to completely get rid of them. The boy asks if the Muram alliance will be disbanded after the demonic path syndicate is destroyed. Dugu Henshin realized that the boy wants to test him. He replied that they will decide when the time comes. But he sincerely hopes that the alliance will maintain unity as one organization. It will be better for the peace of Muram. Yunwen thinks this is done not for the welfare of Muram but for Henshin's own benefit, but he replied that he understands. He's curious if there are any other variables. The man says there are rumors that a member of the heavenly demonic cult has appeared. Youth and the Heavenly Demon are surprised. To be precise, he is called the Heavenly Destroyer. They say his martial arts skills are similar to those of the ancient heavenly demonic cult. The boy realized that it was about him, but pretended as if he had heard nothing about it. Since there are many strange rumors about the heavenly demonic cult, they have no way to verify the authenticity of these rumors. Yunwen asks the heavenly demon what he is thinking about. Demon replies that it is not quite so. The leader of the association asks, would the young man like to work together for the justice of Murem? The man states that their new alliance desperately needs talents like Yunwen. If he agrees, he promises a position lower than one person, but higher than 10,000 people in the Murem alliance. The young man noticed how Henshin imagined himself as the leader of the Murem alliance and now understands they want to make him a pawn. He is very pleased to hear such words about himself, but he needs to think over this decision and asks for some time. Henshin sees the strong spirit of the guy, so he simply says that he respects the young man very much and calls him a great warrior. Leader of the alliance snaps his fingers. Boy does not understand what the matter is. He called his daughter to him. Yunwen is in shock. He cannot understand what the man wants this time. The alliance leader asks her what she is doing and why she does not greet their guest. The girl recognized him but still introduces herself to him. The boy understood Henshin's plan, also introduced himself to the girl and said that it is a great honor for him to meet her. Henshin smiles. He is confident that his plan will work. The man asks the Jade Dragon what he thinks about Zuolan. He says this not because she is his daughter, but she definitely lacks nothing. Yunwen is horrified by the man. She cannot even imagine how many people he has already tried to pass off as his daughter. The boy shrinks with shame. He has seen many beauties in Jianghu, but he sees someone like Zuolan for the first time. The girl is also embarrassed and blushes. The young man uses sound transmission and reminds the girl about the meeting. She does not understand where the voice is coming from. Since the leader's son is already 19, he must marry her off, but he cannot marry her off to just anyone and hints at Yunwen. Yunwen says that he is flattering him, but since such attention has already been revealed, he will do everything in his power to support the association leader. Leader thinks that the young man fell for his trick. The man is leaving because his companions are already waiting. Then the man approaches and apologizes to him for being delayed for so long. He says goodbye to the lady and says that they will meet again. The man asks not to worry about it, to behave well, and prepares for the wedding that will take place next spring. She asks who she is actually marrying. Her father shouts and replies that he already told her. She is marrying the young leader of the coalition, Southern Blade. The girl wants to object to him. It seems Yunwen has pleased her. And the leader of the association shouts angrily, orders her to get out and do what he says. People are having fun at the festival, and one of them says that the banquet will last until tomorrow. The decision to destroy the demonic path has already been made. Yunwen, using the skill of hiding, sneaks up to the abode of water and fire. The lady's subordinate asks if the girl is sure about this man. As soon as he disappears, searches will begin all over Kaifeng. Zuolan understands Huance's anxiety, but she believes that everything will be fine. Yunwen freezes in the room, secretly listens to their conversation, and irritably realizes the girl has already told everything to her subordinate. The heavenly demon asks the young man to leave before it gets worse. He replies that he is a man and cannot fail to keep his promise. Zuolan does not understand why he does not come, and Huance thinks that he got scared after his boasting. The young man immediately found himself next to her subordinate. She does not understand how he managed to get so close to her. She did not even notice it. The boy recognized Huance's eyes. He asks, wasn't it she who galloped down the street on a dark horse? Huance found out about him, calling him crazy. He says that what she did with the horse was even crazier. She takes off her hood. The girl cannot leave her mistress to such a reckless man. Yunwen ignored her, does not understand what she is talking about or why she took off the mask. The boy asks the lady if she is ready. The girl asks him for one more minute. He asks her what kind of bag it is. She answers it is clothes and some jewelry. The boy says to leave everything here and just follow him. Zuolan awkwardly keeps up and nods agrees. And he asks Huance if she will go with them. Subordinate lady is serious and of course she will go. The boy asks the same of Zuolan, and the girl replies that Huance is the closest person to her and does not understand why it is impossible. Yunwen is not going to worry about his subordinate, so he says, better not to go with them. Huance is capable of taking care of herself and reminds the young man of his promise. Seeing how he subtly moved closer to her, the girl is sure he is a martial arts master, but he is too annoying. She calls him Mr. Expert and asks about his plan. The young man replies that he has no plan, he will just go. Hwansa says if you exclude herself and Yunwen, then her mistress does not possess martial arts. The young man says it does not matter, he will just take her and leave. Hwansa replies that he will not be able to avoid an ambush around the water fire sanctuary if he holds Sulan. Boy thinks that her words make some sense. He asks the lady to come to him for a minute, and she does not understand why. They stand very close to each other, the girl blushes. Yunwen has thought of something and asks the celestial demon if it will work. The demon answers confidently but warns it will last only 15 minutes. The young man believes that this will be enough. The boy asks Zulan and Hwansu to listen carefully to what he is about to say. Hwansu was angry at the boy, he dared to call her mistress informally. And Zulan smiles and for some reason thinks, for some reason she does not feel hatred towards him. Yunwen will change her face to the face of another person. Then she will calmly leave with Hwansu, and as soon as they exit the ambush around the water fire abode, he will rush off, carry the mistress, and run away. The surveillance is only around the water fire abode, not other areas. Moreover, today is a banquet, so the security will be even weaker. Girl does not understand how her face can be changed. She does not want her face to be changed. Yunwen tells her not to worry, in 15 minutes it will return to its original state. Hwansu asks if he is not going to use the art of transformation. The boy thinks that the girl has already encountered this before. Hwansu had already said that her mistress is not strong in martial arts. The boy was not deaf, so he told her to listen. Yunwen asks to call one of the maids, the one who often enters the abode of water fire. He needs to see her face. And when everything is ready, he will show the girls a rare technique. The maid asks Hwansa what happened. The girl replies, it will only take a minute. She apologizes to Jim N for being called so late. She just needs to stand for a little while, the woman is worried. Hwansa is not sure if it will work, but since he can hide so well that she does not notice his presence, overall it is possible. Using sound transmission, the boy tells Hwansa that he has already finished and orders her to take the maid away. Hwansa tells Jim N that everything is fine now and she can return to bed. The maid noticed that Lady Hwansa is acting strangely today. Dayulan sits perfectly opposite each other and Hwansa stands nearby, watching closely. The boy directs this one's hand to her and touches the girl's face. Her face was completely changed to the face of Jim N. Yunwen shouts at Hwansa that there is no time to be surprised and orders her to fix the lady's clothes and hairstyle. Hwansa asks Zulan how she feels, but the girl does not understand her concern. She simply thinks her lady is too eager to stay close to Yunwen. If Zulan's father could not get rid of some man, he did everything possible to win him over and extract the maximum benefit from him. He is the kind who will do anything to achieve his goals, and his blood also flows in her veins. As long as she can break free from the Northern Blade Association, she will accept help from anyone. Now Hwansa understood her intentions. Zulan's confidence is exactly what makes her respect her. Suddenly something jumps out of the water, the girls stop. One of them asks where the girls are going so late at night. She needs to go somewhere and she orders them to get out of the way because it is her lady's command. After midnight, men are forbidden to appear here, that's what they say. Hwansa repeats again that it is the lady's order. He simply explains the rules to her and they can pass. Hwansa tells Jim N to follow her. The guard had not previously noticed the attractiveness of Jim N, and the other tells him not to talk nonsense and to prepare for the shift. Using sound transmission, the young man directs Hwangsu, but she does not understand where he is speaking from and looks around in all directions. The boy orders her not to waste time searching for him and tells her to go to the big tree. He looks up, says they have arrived, and asks where he is. Suddenly Yunwen appears before them and grabs the girl. He asks Hwangsu to do everything in her power and to follow him. The young man jumped high up together with Zulan. Hwangsa is in shock but comes to her senses there is no time to behave like this, and she needs to start holding on to him. Yunwen, pushing off the air, carries her away. The girl notices that a pleasant scent comes from the boy. He asks Zulan where she would like to go. The girl wants to reach the headquarters of the beggars gang. The boy is shocked. She says that she has connections with the big leader of the gang. Yunwen felt her and rushed forward, and the girl clung tightly to him. The young man lands in the Guandi temple and asks if the girl is okay. Hwansa kept running after them all the time, and the boy asks why she took so long. She is very out of breath, she ran with all her might. The boy says to listen carefully, he wants to return to the banquet hall. The girls are shocked by his words. The head of the association could never suspect that he delivered Zulan in such a short time, because right now that arouses the least suspicion. Yunwen tells them to say that they were brought here by the Jade Divine Dragon and that the girls luckily have connections with the gang leader in Zuolan. In any case, he asks them to do everything possible to hide, and he will come to them when the time comes. He tears into the sky. The girls again notice his speed. The boy eagerly wants to see the expression on the face of the Northern Blade Association leader. Hyakrion, already drunk, asks Winian why he came only now. Because the guys decided to drink until dawn, John and Hyakrion could barely stand on their feet, and the young man realized they were already completely drunk. Yunwen could not forget this and suggests they start right now. Ian drinks and has fun together with the young man. Zhang and Hyakrion laugh loudly and entertain themselves. He must have fun and talk to as many people as possible, because they will witness his innocence. Zhang notices that the guy is not only a good warrior but also knows how to drink well. He jokes and asks what he cannot do. Zhang speaks the plain truth. At first he hated the guy because of his lies. The great warrior Wenian can both drink and fight. The guy realized that Zhang was already tipsy. He respects Yunwen and is glad to meet a person of such a level. Yunwen says meeting the guys is the best thing that happened to him since he just arrived in Muram. Zhang throws himself into the guy's embrace. Hyakrion suggests to the young man, if he has no plans, to go with them to the League of Five Clans. The young man replies that he will need to go somewhere after he leaves this place. He is very sorry, but the boy promises to visit the League of Five Clans later. Guys raise their glasses to their friendship. The leader of the Northern Blade Association shouts and does not understand how his daughter Lan could have disappeared. According to the investigation results, the likelihood that the lady was kidnapped by outsiders is practically non-existent. Entian does not understand what this nonsense is, and the advisor thinks that Lan left of her own accord. The Hall of Water Swamps is responsible for protecting the Water Fire Sanctuary. In their opinion, it is impossible to kidnap the young lady without leaving any traces under their watch. Moreover, yesterday, according to the guards, a person named Hwansa and the maid Gem N left the Water Fire Sanctuary together. As soon as they set out to interrogate the maid, she insists. The matter is not only that she was not with Hwansa, she did not go outside at all. The association leader thinks that someone used camouflage techniques. The advisor says it is the art of transformation. Man is completely stunned. The lady never mastered martial arts, so either Hwansa or someone else applied the art of transfiguration to her. Since Hwansa is not capable of this, the leader of the association believes that a third party is involved in this matter. If he is an expert of such a level, then he must be at least a representative of the three main clans or the leader of the main factions, but all of them were drinking last night. The man orders a thorough investigation and to consider everyone's suspects until new evidence appears, and it does not matter what they have to do. He commands to find the guilty at any cost. Somewhere in the dungeon, an unknown man in a hooded cloak asks the overseer if the one they are torturing is alive. The man answers, yes, but this person is barely breathing. The man asks, what about the grandson? The overseer, no matter how much he tortures him, does not open his mouth, and surprisingly, he is resilient. It seems the guy in the cloak will have to meet him himself, and he orders the thug to take him to him. He stands opposite a naked man with long gray hair chained. The unknown man admits that the old man and his grandson are indeed persistent. The boy says that last night the old man's granddaughter escaped, so this old man is the father of Kentian and the former leader of the Northern Blade Association, who disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The man asks if the girl has any assistant. It can't be that the girl named Hwansa has such abilities. The old man replies to the boy, calling him a crazy bastard, and says, if you took it, then you lost it. The man tells the hidden dragon emperor that his son is already dead, and the grandson's condition is not much better. And this means that only Lan remains in his family. The man in the cloak asks the old man if he doesn't think it is his duty to save his granddaughter. The Dragon Emperor says with despair that such is fate, and tells the man to do whatever he wants. The stranger replies that Dugu Zhen is soulless. He wonders if this bitch knows how her own grandfather feels about her. The man declares that under the pretext of conquering the demonic path, the Northern Blade Association will soon plunge Jianghu into a sea of blood, and the Northern Blades Association will face harsh criticism for its actions. The old man tells the boy what a bastard he is and asks if he is satisfied with that. The man thinks that the old man means the absolute sword writing. He concluded that they never had the absolute sword writing at their disposal. It was a fabrication invented to ensure their survival. After the death of Dugu Zhen and his grandson, this place will be buried, and no trace of its existence will remain. The old man gets angry at him and calls him a bastard again. Suddenly the hood falls off and it turns out to be Henshin, but it is unclear, is it him or the one who took his face after death? The people rebelled. They do not understand why they are being stopped and consider it abnormal, saying that this is how the Northern Blade Association behaves. The guards say they are conducting a small investigation even if it is a bit inconvenient for the people. One of the guards asks for cooperation with them for some time. People mean why they were not told at least the reason they call the association a dishonest group. Despite the fact that people were categorically against it due to unclear explanation, the association conducted a thorough investigation, regardless of people's words. Among the large crowd, they began to snoop and investigate everyone who was listed as missing during the period from 11 o'clock in the evening to 3 o'clock at night. The otherworldly investigation reached the Heavenly Destroyer. The investigator asks Yunwen where he was and what he was doing during this period. The boy asks if he really has to speak. The man barely smiles and says, if it was nothing shameful, then there is no need to hide it. But the boy has some reasons why he cannot say it. The young man already feels offended by how the investigation is conducted, and now he is also accused of some crime. Yunwen calls the investigator a bastard and says that if he wants to hear his story, he should call the alliance leader here. The guard shouts and does not understand how the young man dares to speak like that. The guy says it is the guard who behaves arrogantly and suggests he check it. The demon suggests the boy run away is not going to fight, but Yunwen has a plan, so he asks the demon to wait because he thinks they will make a mistake first. Another member of the association asks the guy how he dared to mention the leader of the association. Yunwen meets him again. As before, he asked to accompany him and now says who he is to allow himself to say something like that to him. The guy's name is Yon Samo, commander of the Heavenly Sword Company of the Northern Blade Association. Now he asks Yunwen to answer the question. The guy already said that if they want to hear his story, let them bring here the leader of the Northern Blades Association. The guard cannot hold back and attacks the young man with his sword. Yunwen skillfully stops the sword with his fingers and says that it is too slow. The guy blocks his attack again, this time with his own elbow. The demon offers him to use his sword, and the young man thinks it will be a waste of time against such punks. The guy kicks the guard to the side and uses the technique of the sculpture of the unbreakable echo. Yunwen drove him into the ground. The strong survive, the weak perish, only oppressive power rules. He asks Yon Sam if he did everything he could and belittles his abilities. He himself wants to finish off Yunwen. The leader of the association finishes him off with a kick to the head and says that his subordinates did not know yet, so they could not recognize the boy. He asks to find mercy in his heart and forgive his people. The boy, with a serious look, using quick air movement, disappears from there. With the appearance of the leader of the Northern Blade Association, the Heavenly Destroyer got a chance to escape, and thanks to this was able to avoid a painful situation. But the guy felt disgust at the cruelty of Dugu Henshin, the one that contradicted his attitude towards him. The Heavenly Demon asks the boy what is wrong with him. The youth thinks he is in a bad mood because of yesterday. The more Yunwen thinks about Henshin, the angrier he gets at him. He not only used his own daughter's marriage for power, but also treated his subordinates like dogs. The fact that this person has the greatest influence among the four main forces seems absurd. The demon does not understand what is so special about this. At the top stands a strong person, not a good guy. He tells him, do not say that you decided to become an apostle of justice and that it is all because of that girl named Zuelan. Yunwen says he is not talking about that, but for the demon, it sounds exactly like that. The youth informs the celestial demon and Huinan that after the great banquet he decided to strengthen his influence. The Heavenly Demon does not understand. Kainan thought the guy just walks freely and lives in Muraim. He thinks it will be hard to enjoy freedom if he remains alone. The demon agrees with him, saying that the young man is absolutely right. Before the demon made a name for himself, it was hard to carry every little thing alone. Later, when he created the heavenly demonic cults, he was helped to deal with everything that annoyed him. Yunwen agrees with his words because with each manifestation of his influence, fewer and fewer people will want to confront him. The demon asks how the young man plans to expand his influence. The young man thinks he wants to gain the support of the League of Five Clans or Shaolin. The guy does not want to strengthen his influence when the association Northern Blade claims the role of the representative of the righteous path. The youth asks the celestial demon if there still exists a celestial demonic cult. The heavenly demon shuddered and replied that he was not sure. He does not understand what the matter is and is not sure about it, and his reaction to the mention of the cult by the alliance leader was unclear. The demon names the number 1,700 years. Yunwen does not understand what he was talking about. So many years have passed since he was their leader, the guy is shocked by this. When he heard Yunwen's story, he did not doubt at all that the sect of heavenly demons would disappear. But as soon as he heard what Dugo Henshin said, he changed his mind. The guy thought the demon was talking about him, but he meant rumors related to the cult. The heavenly demon replies that they could call him the Heavenly Destroyer, but they never said he was a member of the heavenly demonic cult. Although the heavenly demonic cult is only a legend, it seems people still talk about it without realizing it. In essence, rumors are contagious and pass quickly. Yunwen asked Huinin what the demon meant. The old man thinks he meant that gossip spreads quickly and does not last long. The fact that rumors still circulate, regardless of whether they are true or not, means that someone saw something resembling a demonic cult. So the demon takes that single memory of the heavenly demonic cult to say that it still exists. He is hidden and powerful, although he never reveals himself, he definitely exists. If these monsters from the heavenly demonic cult followed the instructions of the heavenly demon, then they definitely still exist. Yunwen tells him to stop talking and already find this cult. He calls the heavenly demon. He clumsily responds to the boy. The young man asks him if he is sure that people even live where they have come after all. These are snowy mountains with fiercely strong winds. Yunwen thinks that no one would live in this area. The demon replies, then all his followers have long been dead. The boy's face turned red from the cold, and he offers his spirits to check if there is anyone here or not. He, thanks to his skills, notices someone from afar. If it weren't for the snow, it would be easier to find members of the heavenly demonic cult sect. Suddenly, he grasps something. The boy does not understand how he himself did not think of this earlier. The demon does not understand him, but the monk Huineng seems to have grasped what Yunwen means. Taking a deep breath, he exhales sharply. It did not work, and the snow continues to fall. Celestial demon and Huineng are irritated. The young man entered a narrow cave and is making his way between the rocks. Yunwen feels warm energy coming from here, and a human hand is clearly visible. After all, a tile was placed there. After some time, he shudders and exclaims, but does not understand where the cult members are. He has had enough, and the young man decides to stop searching. He does not know that this is a huge labyrinth, and the boy is standing right in the middle of it. The demon asks if Yunwen is crazy because he has already found what he needs. The young man does not understand what the demon is talking about until the demon orders, "Look at the stone lying behind you." 3 demonic masks are painted on the stone. Yunwen asks the demon what this sign means. The demon says these are symbols known to all his followers. There should be a mechanism nearby that can be activated. The boy finds it. He presses the levers, first the 3rd, then the 5th. Yunwen says it is not that simple. The boy felt for the right combination and opened the passage downwards. Yunwen froze in surprise and does not understand how a forest can be underground. It seems this cave is connected by tunnels to other places. The demon notices this. He could expect this from his followers. Suddenly, the boy became alert and applied the technique of hiding the traces of the heavenly demon. He noticed people ahead, 2 young girls who look alike. The red-haired girl is curious who will win. Perhaps she means a duel or some tournament. The girl with turquoise hair says that the final will be decided by the demon of Alka anyway. The red-haired girl does not know but hopes, when this ends, they will be able to get out of here after everything. But if the bloody demon wins, they will not be able to reach Changwon. Girls want to go out to Changwon and see the entire Murim together with the young master OK Kai-rin. Yunwen is curious about who they are. He thinks it is some popular type. The boy asks the heavenly demon if this is his sect. The demon replies this is the least one could expect from his followers. They have a decent collection of weapons here and unlimited potential of warriors. The young man considers him a blabbermouth, but he must move on. He runs past the building and notices it. In his opinion, it looks good. He needs to go inside. The boy secretly looks into the room where the girl lies, and next to her, a boy is squatting. The girl says even if the Alder demon loses, it will change nothing. He asks the young master, will he side with the winner? Yunwen and the demon notice the girl's beauty. The heavenly demon says he has a cool sect. She says something like this, the Alder demon from the northern palace wants to take everything under his control, but for now, their back is covered by the Liu family. Moreover, Damned and Guyan are not that close. Ultimately, everything leads to the northern palace gaining all the power. She orders the boy to tell this to his brother, the demon of the gloomy sky, that everything will go according to their plan. Yunwen thinks about all these families and clans, something like the League of 5 Clans, but in a demonic sect. The young man understood and says he will go, and the lady asks him to wait. He asked what his name is. The boy's name is Liu Chang'an. The girl says that he could be her nephew, so she orders him to massage her feet. Trying to massage her soles, the boy gets kicked in the face by the girl. She says how pathetic he is and drives him away. The youth, flashing his heels, runs away, and the girl thinks what an idiot he is. Suddenly, Yoonwon disperses his technique and appears right above the girl, asking what she will say about him. She is frightened by his appearance. The boy cannot believe that there is such a beauty in the sect. They look at each other without looking away. Yoonwon does not understand whether she is nervous or not, and why she is looking at him so intently. The girl calls him tiny and asks if he wants to massage her legs. He is embarrassed, and the heavenly demon does not understand how she dares to say that to him. The heavenly demon thinks that she reads body language perfectly and apparently uses a technique to maintain youth. The boy agrees and only asks for permission. He orders him to start with a smile. Yoonwon, using his combat skills, paralyses her energy points just as he did earlier with Zuolan. He, using sound transmission, tells her to answer the questions he will ask honestly. The young man paralyzed the girl so quickly that she didn't even have time to react. She still doesn't understand who this boy really is. Yoonwon introduces himself, calling himself the disciple and successor of the heavenly demon. He sees that she doesn't believe him but still asks if he could infiltrate the sect's refuge without the demon's help. She believes every word of this handsome guy. The boy doesn't understand why she blushed. Additionally, he left no energy trace. This supports Yoonwon's opinion. The heavenly demon asks the boy to show his abilities to the girl. After all, it's better to see once than hear 100 times. The boy asks her to look, and as soon as she sees the receiver, she will decide whether the heavenly demon is inside it. There are 3 combat techniques that the heavenly demon did not pass on to his disciples: the 3 swords of the heavenly dragon and the destruction of Asura. In the 3rd technique, the boy asks to watch carefully. He, using the energy of the heavenly demon, directs it into his leg and strikes the floor. The 3rd technique is called Heavenly Demon's Limbo. He used it. He is surprised and counts the copies. There are only 12 of them. The girl only knew legends about this ability. She realized that the boy is not lying. He is the receiver of the heavenly demon, yet she still does not understand how this can be. Yoonwon dispersed his clones, and from the girl's face he understood. She believes him, and the energy points must already be unlocked. The lady coughs and asks if it is true that he is her heir. He confirms it again, meaning he wants to ask her something. The young man asks to tell everything concerning the current situation and power in the sect. Before Yoonwon stood Liu Yang Ryang, the senior flame. There were 5 families in the sect. The first Tanmok, the surname of the heavenly demon himself. And then 4 families of disciples: Bukun, Liu, Damned, and Guyan. In the heavenly demon sect, the law is of paramount importance. The first says that only direct descendants of the Tanmok family can become the head of the sect. However, 250 years ago, during the 7th demonic war, the head Changya died. The remaining family lived very shortly, so the position of the sect head remains vacant to this day. Yoonwon thinks if so, then families must fight for the position of leader, but there are no signs of a battle around. Therefore, someone is temporarily replacing the sect leader. Ryan notices his cleverness. At first she thought he was just another idiot who only knows how to wave his hands, but she was wrong. While the leader's position is vacant, his duties are performed by the Council of Elders and Guardians. It is headed by a descendant of the collateral branch of the Tanmok family, whose members cannot lead the sect. Next come 3 guardians, followed by 7 elders. And then come the 4 lords of demons. The boy realized that the guards and elders were just old men in power, and he asks about these 4. Bloody Demon, Demon of Alka, Demon of Poison, and Demon of the Gloomy Sky are also representatives of each of the 4 families. Yoonwon understands, to gain control over the sect, he must defeat them all. And there is also a group of 4 elders and 4 flowers. These are important personalities among women. Ryan is older than Plamni, and one of the 4. The girl confirms this. She says the most of all, the heavenly demon sect has the most followers among the 12 demon masters. The guy finds it confusing and asks how many people they have in total. Those who have real power are about 2,000, and if you count everyone, then 20,000. Yoonwon recalls that in the Northern Blades Association there are about 15,000. The boy says this is wonderful and it will help them a lot. The girl knows it will be hard for him because he has no one to convince others that this boy is the descendant of the heavenly demon. He does not understand how this could not be, so he points at her. Ryan is completely confused by his words. Ryan does not understand what is wrong with this person. She just appeared suddenly out of nowhere and claims she will lead the heavenly demonic cult. The one who speaks nonsense sounds quite convincing. She is interested in what exactly he wants to achieve. He will help him, but in return she has a condition. Yoonwon asks what her condition is. If he promises to fulfill one wish of the girl at any moment, she will do everything in her power to help him. The boy says if that is all he can do, then he agrees. The humble subordinate who obeys, the fiery empress welcomes the supreme heavenly demon. He asks Yeon Ryung what he should do. To be recognized as the supreme heavenly demon, he must gain recognition from the guardians and elders. Then the young man must subdue 12 young masters, and only after that will it be possible to deal with the 4 demonic lords. Yoonwon thanks her for the information and declares that he will absorb the heavenly demonic cult with style. She asked him to be careful as the Hall of Guardians is protected by 10 Sword Kings and the Hall of Elders by 10 demonic guards. They are experts, secretly trained by the caretakers and elders. The demon tells Yoonwon instead of going directly to these guardians, he simply bypasses them. The demon thinks Yoonwon is going to test the 10 kings and guards. The young man confirms his words. The boy just wants to check how strong they are. Suddenly, someone with a sword jumps out from the wall and attacks the guy. Yoonwon climbed onto the ceiling and dodged the strike. The attacker does not understand why he missed the target. He felt that the airflow was slightly disturbed. The boy asks the heavenly demon if he is confident in the effectiveness of his martial art. The demon can do nothing about the pathetic amount of Kai inside the young man. Moreover, this attacker also used the heavenly demonic hidden art, but thanks to Yoonwon's high level, it does not seem that he detected the boy. He understands, for members of the heavenly demon cult, using the heavenly demon's martial arts is quite obvious, but it can be a bit annoying. The man who attacked him feels skills begin to fail and fade away. Yoonwon believes that if 10 Sword Kings are at such a level, then he has nothing to worry about. In the middle of the hall, surrounded by monuments with fire, 3 unknown people sit and discuss something. One of the men asks the right guardian how much the abilities of the children from the training hall have increased. The right guardian replies that the children are at a satisfactory level. In particular, there are many outstanding children, great guardians, in this group. The old man now asks the left guard, has the demonic lord of the Scarlet Sun made his move? The left guard says that so far there are no obvious moves on his side. He has acted since he began training in seclusion. To be honest and speak only about martial arts, the bloody demon is stronger, though only slightly. It seems the demonic lord of the Scarlet Sun understands this too, so he tries to become stronger. The old man asks the great guard if he thinks the demonic lord of the Scarlet Sun is better than the bloody demon. The great guard thinks if most of his members seek to conquer the Central Plains, then maybe it is better to leave the leader position to the lord of the Scarlet Sun. The lord of the bloody demons will not stand still. The problem is that the demonic lord of the Scarlet Sun suffers defeat because of his own stubbornness. The great guardian calls the 10 kings of swords. At that moment they appear and ask, what happened? He asks what they were doing since they allowed a stranger to enter here. They do not understand what he is talking about. The old man throws a dagger at Yoonwon and says, this is the first time since he set out into Jeonghu that he felt humiliated, and this is the first time his dagger has broken. 10 kings of swords do not understand who he is and how this guy got here. Guy says the problem is not that right now. He suddenly appears next to the old man and asks if he is the great keeper. 10 kings of swords are frightened and threaten to kill the youth. The old man orders them to stop. The great keeper confirms his title. He asks Yoonwon who he is. The boy introduces himself as the heavenly destroyer and calls himself the receiver of the heavenly demon. Yoonwon wants to learn about the 3 guardians, and Yeon Ryung tells him. Left golden face fire demon Tang Mok-hu. Right demon of the golden shield, General Tang Mok-sun. However, the one who truly deserves attention is Yoonwon, the first guardian, advisor to the heavenly demon Tang Mok-chanan. He is already over 200 years old and he is an unparalleled master of martial arts. No one knows who he really is. It is rumored that one of the 12 demon masters is his student. The boy realized that Chanan is a great warrior. He was able to reveal him despite the heavenly demon's technique. All 3 guardians are shocked after Yoonwon's words that he is a student of the heavenly demon. The fire demon who says, how dare some boy joke with the name of the heavenly demon and think that he has lost fear. The feeling of fear is alien to him. He is truly his student. He stands bravely surrounded by 10 swords. Man asks the boy what he will prove to him. Yoonwon decides to take out his heavenly demon sword to confirm his identity. The right and left guardians are amazed. They think it is a fake. He asks if they believe him now. The first guard says if his old eyes do not lie, before them is the sword of the heavenly demon, but that is not enough for them to recognize him as the supreme leader. If he returns the blade to them, they will honor him as an esteemed guest. But if he decides to covet the position of the head, they will have no choice but to make him reconsider. Yunwen sees that his authority in the heavenly demon sect has fallen below the baseboard and asks the demon what he should do about it. Demon says what parasites they are and who do they think they are. Guards do not understand whom he is talking to. They think he has lost his mind, since they do not see the heavenly demon. The old man says if the young man is truly his successor, he must prove it with his own skills. One of the 10 swords leads the guy through the dungeon and says there is just a little left. Yunwen is glad because he is already tired of walking. Judging by how the oxygen fire burns, there is plenty of oxygen here. The guard confirms this since the local rocks let air through. They have arrived at the tomb of the heavenly demon, and the boy looks impressed. First guard says to the boy, if he is truly the heir, let him open the tomb gates and then he will need to enter and take one thing. Yunwen asks what exactly he should take. The old man replies that he will have to take the ring. It is a sacred object that once belonged to a celestial demon. Such a symbol of power could only be worn by the founders of sects of those times. There is a legend that the ring is engraved with a method to achieve enlightenment. The boy thinks, and the first guard speaks sternly and asks the celestial demon about the ring. This is his favorite ornament and it contains knowledge of all his combat techniques. If this is true, such a thing will be useful to Yunwen. The door does not open. The boy thinks there is some secret here, but it is just an iron wall. The left guard asks the first guard if they will really allow this young man to enter the tomb just like that. The old man says, judging by the technique the young man used, he is by no means so far from being a disciple of the heavenly demon. But you can't just make him the leader of the sect for that, and also because he somehow has the sword of the heavenly demon. If he has abilities like a celestial demon, he will be able to open the tomb and take the ring. This will be sufficient grounds to make him the leader. Yunwen will then cope with this task and become it. The first guardian will settle everything. Most likely the tomb is under serious guard. One of the 10 swords arrived at the guards. They ask him what happened. The boy speaks. The young man asks them for a favor. The man asked what exactly favor he wants. Yunwen wants healing and nourishing elixirs, and also ordered that no one approach the tomb. The first guard does not understand what could threaten people near the tomb. His subordinate says that the lad intends to pierce the gate with his sword. The demon asks Yunwen to focus on one point. The demon's weapon can withstand even such a strike. The boy knows this and suggests testing the sharpness of his blade. And the young man attacks the tomb gate with the sword of the heavenly demon. The boy is confident he definitely managed to pierce the gate. The heavenly demon says that for his gates this is only a scratch. Yunwen realized he should have struck harder. The exhausting work continued. Even the heavenly destroyer found it hard to break them. He attacked the gate for about 3 hours, but managed to knock out only a small chip. However, he began to focus less on combat techniques and more on concentrating internal energy. The boy concentrates on distributing energy across all his points. Yunwen asks the young master if everything is alright. The heavenly demon asks him not to be distracted. The demon thinks maybe the boy will succeed next time. There is no point in explaining how important the amount of internal energy is, and this will be enough for enlightenment to become significantly stronger. And to reach a completely different level of martial arts mastery, and all this depends only on Yunwen's own determination. The execution of combat techniques directly depends on the flow of internal energy. Thanks to this, the sword itself will understand how to attack without interrupting the flow from the heart. One must open the soul and decide to go all the way. And then the energy path will be laid in the heart. Softness, hardness, and flexibility replace each other, and they no longer exist separately. After 28 hours, 14 minutes, and 24 seconds, Wenyun finally opened his eyes. He radiates energy. The demon shows him respect and asks how he feels. The boy does not know whether he should even say how meager his former abilities were. It's hard to describe, but he seems to have discovered a new vast world, one he could not even imagine before. Turns out these were not the demon's usual tricks, not the boundless sword and not the natural sword, so the boy would have lived on without knowing all this. The heavenly demon says how delightful it is to discover this, and this is only the beginning. Maybe someday he will even reach the end. The boy will go further and further until he understands when he should stop. That is why he needs to do something to feel alive. Yunwen felt such lightness as if his body became empty, although he could not grasp the full extent of the energy that overwhelmed him like a wave. He understood it because he attained a completely different state. He thrust the sword into the same place he had hit before. He needs to transform the hand of swords into the wind of swords. And all that will remain is the explosion of the sword. He concentrated a huge whirlwind of energy and delivered a powerful strike to the gates. He truly became stronger, and he is overflowing with energy. Yunwen now, after opening the door, will set out to find where the ring of the heavenly demon lies. Inside a huge library, and the young man holds a martial arts manual in his hand. Boy throws the book on the floor. Yuinen does not understand why the young master does not like to read. The heavenly demon thinks no one likes it. These papers cannot help the one who has opened the path to the energy of the heart. The tomb of the heavenly demon was divided into 6 halls. The first stored the secrets of martial arts, the second gathered manuals created by former elders of the sect, the third hall was dedicated to elixirs. The boy looks around in surprise. There are more glasses here than there were in the palace there. The cat cried them out. You will need to return here later. These elixirs may be very useful in the future. The fourth hall, the arsenal, was completely filled with weapons. Each specimen had a short explanation hanging on it. The fifth hall, the Hall of Knowledge, where information about former leaders of the heavenly demon sect was kept, was filled with life-size statues, books with their techniques, and memoirs. According to the heavenly demon's advisor, the last hall stores the demon's personal belongings and his treasures. The demon laughs and thinks everything has definitely been taken. Yunwen asks if it doesn't seem a bit strange to him. Could the discovery of the tomb alone prove that the boy is his successor? Of course, it was not that simple, but it still doesn't fit in the mind. They entered the hall of the heavenly demon. The sculptors successfully managed to convey his appearance. Someone is flying down from above at Yunwen the boy, and his spirits do not notice him yet. That creature that approached him says it hasn't smelled a human in a long time. Boy doesn't understand who he is and uses trail concealment. Boy already thinks he will never see him again. And this monster suddenly appears behind him. He throws the boy up hard. 500 years ago, the former demon lord, the strongest of the 4, one of the most influential figures in the history of the heavenly demon sect. One day greed blinded him. He secretly infiltrated the tomb and stole the heavenly demon ring, then began practicing martial arts and hiding from everyone. The energy coming from the ring was too powerful, and eventually the master went insane. More than 300 warriors of the sect sacrificed themselves to lock him in the tomb and seal the entrance. Just a little more and Yunwen would have had big problems if he hadn't managed to react to his strike. The demonic energy of this creature spreads everywhere and demands from the master who he is. The man says the boy will find out if he survives him. He intercepts the sword strike of Yunwen with his sword. It attacks the boy in response. Still in midair, sparks fly all around. The demon sharply jumped aside from the youth. The heavenly demon praises the youth, saying how well he parried the strike. The man says that Yunwen is not so bad and asks if the boy wants to see what he is capable of. He sets his sword in motion with a kick with all his might. Yunwen also launches his sword. They and their swords meet closely, a close clash, a face-to-face confrontation. The boys launch their swords again and fiercely engage in a fierce confrontation with each other. The demon stops this tug of war and their swords end up stuck in the floor. The opponents stand facing each other and exchange glances. Yunwen notices how his aura has become incredible, and the internal energy within him has also increased. The man is glad that he came across such a person. Although the boy is young, he is close to the man's aura. He is curious about who he really is. Could it be that these old men from the sect just let him in so easily, and surely they did not raise such a good warrior? The boy says that his skills are so outstanding the man would have already gotten out of here, but he is still stuck here. The man says that there is nothing interesting here, and he also has to accomplish one task here. He asks why Yunwen came here. The young man came to the secret hideout for the ring of the heavenly demon. The man understood everything and thinks that this is advice sent to him by the advisor. The youth says he just came here to take what belongs to him. The man has not encountered a worthy opponent for a long time. And although all this is very nice, he asks to watch his words. Yunwen replies that he himself should watch what he says. Boy says that he is the receiver of the heavenly demon itself. Boy pleadingly asks Zhu Gui to spare him at least once and remember their old friendship. Winner of this clash is declared to be Dantai Zhu Gui. He does not understand why everyone is happy just like a tiger kills a rabbit. The killing of such a degenerate does not bother Zhu Gui at all. Even in the demonic cult where the strong ruled, his boredom was not alleviated. He deliberately stole the heavenly demonic ring to make the demon's heart go mad, but the stimulus lasted only a moment. When he came to his senses, he had already killed 300 cult members. 300 people died from small movements he could not even recall. Besides boredom, it was a feeling of despair despite his own weakness. The mad demon Zhu Gui passionately felt deep despair in his own strength. He wonders what he trained for and what the use of this ring is. He thinks that the heavenly demon was lonely too. He is the only one the boy can talk to. He wonders what it would be like if they lived in the same era. He returns the ring to the heavenly demon again. Yugui notices the heavenly demon's records. The pride of the insane demonic monarch who once boasted that he was the strongest was completely torn to pieces before the combat knowledge of the heavenly demon. The heavenly demon has a completely different approach. Zhui Guang thinks that a person of a lower level will not be able to grasp the depth of these words. These are just words, but they drive him crazy with excitement. The insane demonic monarch who was bored throughout his life found salvation in the texts left by the heavenly demon. Then he grasped the decision to abandon his chaotic desires and reach the boundary demonic realm right here, using the books of the ancestor of the heavenly demon. Thus 50 years passed, and here appears a boy who calls himself the supreme heavenly demon. Zhui Guang lost his speech so much that he cannot hold back laughter. He laughs out loud at the boy's words about being the supreme heavenly demon. The man admits that his achievements are incredible for a person who is not yet 20 years old. However, the words supreme heavenly demon are not something to be spoken thoughtlessly. Yunwen struggles to block his strike. Zhui Guang smiles boldly. Zhui Guang notices his laughter. He says, the boy has courage and he likes it. He throws the boy back. The youth notices his incredible strength. Even though there were cult leaders in the past still called great heavenly demon masters, there is only one supreme heavenly demon. For Zhui Guang, this person is no different from a god. The man said that Yunwen brought death upon himself and poured a huge amount of internal energy into his sword. The youth notices his incredibly refined chi sword. Zhui Guang warns the boy, calling him kid, and advises him to be more careful. He makes the strongest swing with the sword from behind his back. Here, after the blocks strike on Yunwen's sword, an energy trace remained. The man attacks him again. The boy is thrown aside from the series of strikes. Form, technique, agility, momentum, variability, and nothingness, all this is dog nonsense, just tricks that, according to Zhui Guang, are worthless. He is just spinning up and again attacks the young man. Yunwen knelt down and leaned on his sword. Deep marks from the man's blows are visible on the floor. Zhui Guang is irritated and does not understand how the boy endured it. The heavenly demon scolds Yunwen and tells him not to fight head-on, but to use his techniques and tricks. Even if the demon had not told him, he already knew it. Zhui Guang asks why the boy is talking to himself and tells him to just die. Yunwen is already ready and has taken a stable stance. The boy used the technique of heavenly demonic spears. Zhui Guang considers it just a pitifully copied technique, not a true technique of the heavenly demon. Yunwen attacks the man together with his clones. He notices that all of them are real and does not understand how the boy can use such an exclusive technique. The martial arts master at the level of the Mad Demon Lord could easily discern the continuous attacks enhanced by the sword chi. At first glance, they looked like several attacks converging in one moment, but upon closer inspection it was clear they were definitely following some order. Counterattacking in such an order was elementary. It didn't matter which martial arts master he faced. The difference was only in speed, and the essence remained the same. But the technique of the Heavenly Destroyer was different strikes from the side of material bodies simultaneously. Even if it were a Mad Demon Lord, it would be impossible to block all the attacks flying from all sides at once. The man suddenly starts spinning and raises a whirlwind of energy. As I expected, Yunwen, Zhui Guang is not an ordinary guy. The Heavenly Demon says that this is not enough and asks to continue and attack him. Huinan thinks they need to move to another place and calm down first. The guy orders them to shut up, but they just whine with words, and for him, it's like a thorn in the ass. Yunwen notices an incredible solution. Zhui Guang asks why some guy suddenly started talking to himself. He thinks Yunwen is as crazy as he is. The guy rushes away and asks, give him a second to think. The man tells Yunwen, running away like a coward. The young man replies that he does not intend to run away, he was just thinking about how to defeat Zhu Gui. He has just come to the conclusion, the man lost. The boy decides to start using the second sword, the Emperor's Sword. The man considers him arrogant and does not think he can immediately use two swords with the help of internal chi. Each of his attacks is fiercely laughable. Compared to how he used one sword, his strength has not diminished at all. Zhu Gui realized that it not only did not decrease, it even increased. Only after they crossed swords did he understand, this young man is the very heavenly demon he dreamed of. Yunwen throws him into flight, raising a huge club of smoke. He stands opposite the defeated Zhu Gui and asks if he now believes that he is the supreme heavenly demon. The man finds out if it is true that such a thing can really exist. The young man replies that it no longer matters whether it can happen or not. He should have already understood this himself after fighting him. Yunwen asks if the man still intends to stay here. Zhui Guang replies that he does not know. Mastering the martial arts of the ancestor of the heavenly demon and achieving high skill, even tried to seize the cult. But now, with Yunwen appearing here, what gave his life meaning has disappeared. Boy asks how about he gives her meaning. Yunwen will take the power of the heavenly demonic cult for himself. He does not know what he will do in the future, but assures that Zhuiguan will have no time to be bored. He is needed by this guy, and he suggests going with him together. Man trembles with excitement. It seems his dreams have come true. From now on he is his disciple. Mad Lord of Demons Dantiai Zhuiguang meets the supreme heavenly demon, tears of joy streaming down his face. In the Hall of Guards, one of the 10 swords informs the first guard. The old man asks if the boy has already died. The subordinate does not know how to explain it, but the boy not only did not die. All 3 guards turn around and freeze in surprise at something. Yunwen stands with the ring of the heavenly demon and smiles at it. The old men are in shock, and they also notice Zhu Gui behind him. Behind their faces it is visible. He believes that what he has done is quite enough as proof. The young man asks the demon lord what it is like to breathe fresh air after half a century. The man says, so many years have passed and nothing has changed here. The first guard is completely surprised by what is happening. Not only is this the demon lord, but he also called the guy supreme. The young man took the ring and survived, and this madman even brought the demon lord here. The boy asks the advisor not to delay with the answer and asks if there is enough evidence to confirm his identity. The advisor among the guards, Tan Mok Chanan, wholeheartedly celebrates the appearance of the supreme heavenly demon and kneels before him, holding his hands together. Everything in the hall, both the 10 swords and the rest of the guards following Chanan, and all equally greet the supreme demon. They gathered, and the guards together with Zhuiguang sit opposite Yunwen. The right guard learned that the spirit of the heavenly demon resides in the boy's body. Yunwen confirms this and says that it is all thanks to a ritual called the basics of summoning and binding the soul. Zhuiguang realized that during their fight the boy was not talking to himself. The first guardian says, in this world there are many things that the human mind cannot comprehend. It is truly incredibly, and the old man is curious about what the heavenly demon is telling the boy now. Yunwen has been cursing them for quite a long time already. Heavenly demon screams that they are all brainless idiots. The boy sips tea and says, the demon thought that they had already conquered all of Murem since they are considered its followers. And the fact that the sect cannot be found even if you wash your eyes with some potion disappoints him greatly. The heavenly demon wants to tell him something and asks to quote the boy's words. He is a celestial demon. Guards together with Zhuiguang shudder and greet him. The heavenly demon criticized the current state of the sect long enough, then ordered to equate Venyu Yun to the title of heavenly demon and to assist him in every possible way. Of course, no one could doubt his words, so everyone obeyed the orders of the sect founder. First guard asks the boy what he thinks about the ring of the celestial demon. The boy says he does not know, and at first glance the ring just looks unusual. The demon thinks that he is a little fool and will now show the power of his weapon. The young man says that the old man is not talking to him. If you fill the ring with energy and throw it, it can cause incredible destruction. The ring will pierce any enemy defensive barrier like a sheet of paper. It also provides fire resistance, and if you take the ring in your mouth and focus energy in it, it neutralizes any poison. Yunwen understood and said that the ring was indeed not simple, and the demon corrected, it is more than not simple. The guy addresses the demon lord, it's time to move, and Zhugiang wonders where they will go. The young man says, ahead of them lies a difficult road. They must tame 12 horses. The demon lord does not understand which 12 horses the boy is talking about. The first guard thinks he understands what Yunwen is talking about. The old man tells the heavenly destroyer that they are among the best warriors of their sect, have enormous potential, and everyone expects that they will restore the sect's former glory. If the boy manages to gain their trust in the future, they will help him. Yunwen knows about this, so he is preparing to meet these demon masters. Zhuiguang doubts that they necessarily need to use underwater diving equipment to reach that place. He thinks that this might scare the horses and they will scatter. The demon lord suggests first sneaking up unnoticed. Yunwen says that these brats still have milk on their lips. Zhuiguang notices those 12 demon masters the boy talked about. The young man shouts at them at the top of his lungs and asks if he can join. The demon lord is definitely puzzled by his action. 12 demon masters do not understand who this boy is and where he came from. The boy thinks the 12 masters can be dealt with like this explained, but he asks the demon lord to help him with this. Zhuiguang says the supreme one is before them. One of them says they should not make them laugh. In a second everyone got punched. The guys still do not understand who these two are, and the subjugation of the 12 masters ended. The boy says that for their age they have excellent skills and asks the boy opposite him what his name is. The boy replies that they do not know who Yunwen is, although judging by the technique he just used, it seems like he knows it well. Jui Guang continues his thought and says that before them stands the supreme heavenly demon. The young man looks surprised. 12 masters can swear allegiance to someone only under 2 conditions. First, they must defeat them, and second, be the leader of the heavenly demon sect. Both conditions are met, so from now on the 12 demon masters will serve him flawlessly. The boy says that now they have gained 3 guardians and a dozen masters. Heavenly demon notices Yunwen's bad appearance. The boy turned pale and collapsed to the ground. The boy lays pale in bed after his fall. First guardian asks Jui Guan why he allowed the young man to be in such a state, since he was with him the whole time. The demon lord thinks that Yunwen went too far because he used martial arts he had not used before, and some inner demon appeared in him. The old man asks what martial art the young man practiced to reach such a state. Jui Guan says it was the sword of nature. The man also saw it for the first time, so he is not sure, but he heard that it is a realm beyond the boundless realm of swords. When the boy was conquering 12 demon masters, he realized he would not be able to conquer them if they themselves did not surrender. Jui Guang noticed that the youth's sword did not behave like an ordinary one. It did not flow in a straight line but flowed in the form of a scent. Luna became thick like fog and filled the entire space. 12 demonic masters who were watching this scene with admiration suddenly realized their bodies were not moving at all. They did not understand what was happening and soon realized they were not opponents for him. The first guardian doubts the existence of a kingdom beyond the boundless kingdom of the sword. Jui Guang tells their master that these questions are unnecessary and all they need is to carry out his will, and the youth will soon regain consciousness. The old man is surprised that Yunwen at such a young age was able to surpass the level of the transcendent demonic kingdom, and most likely, such a thing has not yet happened in Murim. The boy suddenly opens his eyes wide and jumps out from under the blanket. The heavenly demon and Hunan ask how he feels and worry about the boy. He dreamed a dream as if he was standing alone in the complete darkness of the ocean. The youth asks the heavenly demon what the difference is between the Chi sword and the enhanced Chi sword. The demon does not understand why he suddenly decided to ask about it. Having regained consciousness, the heavenly destroyer suddenly bombarded the heavenly demon with questions about martial arts, sometimes with innocent, childlike eyes, sometimes with the passionate voice of a youth, sometimes with the deep gaze of a sage. The heavenly demon at first froze in surprise but quickly laughed. A person had appeared with whom all this could be discussed. After the conversation with the heavenly demon, the heavenly destroyer took another step forward as far as he had never dreamed before. The next few days passed quietly. Yunwen healed his new subordinates 12 demonic young masters and conducted their martial arts training. Yunwen teaches others for the first time. Since the youth had already surpassed the transcendent demonic realm, he was able to freely wield the boundless sword. He cuts a stone in half with stunning ease. 12 young masters watch this and marvel at the boundless sword. From the perspective of sword theory, the heavenly destroyer was already, in a certain sense, more skilled than anyone else. He had already surpassed the heavenly demon. The youth sits on the throne in the hall, and his subordinates kneel before him. Shi Ryan is surprised. She knew he was an amazing person, but still could not imagine that Yunwen could defeat the guardians and the 12 demon masters in just a few days. Moreover, the person next to the boy is a world-famous mad demonic monarch. Jui Guang notices her gaze and asks what she is staring at. In any case, Wen Ryan considers Yunwen incredible. The first guardian asks the young man what he thinks about announcing all the facts and indicating the path to advance their heavenly demonic cult. The boy wants to watch a little more. He insists that everyone in the heavenly demon cult recognize him as the supreme heavenly demon. Tomorrow there will be a sparring match between the Lord of the Scarlet Sun Demons and the Lord of the Blood Demons. Despite both being talented people recognized by everyone in the cult, they feud with each other over any reason. This sparring is not just a competition, but an event that determines the future path of the heavenly demonic cult. First Guardian says that when Yunwen appeared, this stopped mattering. Yunwen says that is not true. These 2 demonic lords can be seen as representative forces of the heavenly demonic cult, and he believes it is a great opportunity to see the power of their cult with his own eyes. For now, he wants to first watch how the sparring goes and hopes that everyone will remain calm and listen to his words. Everyone in the hall says they will obey his orders. Jui Guang asks the boy what he intends to do with the Central Plains. He knows it must be him who wants to conquer them. The young man plans to bypass the strong war with the Central Plains, and the demon lord cannot comprehend his intentions. The method by which the sect wanted to conquer the lands of Changwon would have led to numerous casualties, and he wants to unite with their opponent. The man says, now what is important is not foreign policy, but internal policy. First, they should reorganize the structure of the sect. One of the 12 demon masters, OK Kai Rin, asks Mu Yon Jiang, is the supreme heavenly demon different from their sect? Yi Jiang tells Kai Rin to stop talking nonsense because she herself saw what Yunwen is capable of. But in his mind, the boy already agrees with her, and he is curious about what the heavenly destroyer really planned. Zhui Guang trains under Yunwen's guidance. Traces of exercises are visible on the ground. The boy says he has warmed up and is ready. Yunwen does not understand who is warming up like that. The heavenly destroyer tells the man that he did well today. Also, the young man needs to secretly select warriors under the age of 40 loyal to the sect. The demon lord asks if a person's gender has any significance. The boy says that it does not matter, and he still needs to find out how things are going at the training center. He orders him to take care of it. The man accepts the task, but he does not understand what his master really wants. From what Yunwen already knows about tomorrow's tournament, it will become clear whether the heavenly demon sect will try to conquer Changwon. Sooner or later, a fierce struggle will unfold between the Northern Blade Association and the demonic sects. The only good thing is that for now they are not interested in the heavenly demon sect. The young man already realizes the world is on the brink of change. The boy calls the leader of the 10 swords after him. He fusses with a letter and asks to deliver it to the one who understands the laws best. A drummer in a horned mask resembling a demon's face wildly beats the drums and rallies the crowd. The crowd rejoices at the start of the tournament. Changwon, this word means both the heavenly demon sect's desire to seize it and also what awakens a longing for home in the chest. All members of the sect were stirred by this event regardless of whether they approved, supported Changwon, or on the contrary, sought to capture it. One of the spectators rejoices at the appearance of the advisor of the heavenly demon, but he does not understand who stands next to him. He does not know who this is, but the boy looks too young. 3 guards Yunwen and Zhui Guang took their places. The boy notices that everyone is terribly worried. The first guard says, the outcome of the duel will determine whether they can take control of the Central Plains, otherwise they simply cannot respond. Demon Alka from the Buchan family appears. Bloody Demon from the Damned clan also enters the arena. The young man sees how all the spectators support them. Yunwen is curious why these two are fighting. After all, there are 4 main demons in the sect. The old man replies that these two are the pillars of the sect, but they constantly provoke confrontation between themselves. The demon lord thinks he remembers that before he was locked in the tomb, the bloody demon was his servant. The man remembers this poorly. His memories seem blurred by fog. The bloody demon greatly respected Zhui Guang even after that terrible incident that the demon lord caused half a century ago. He sided with him, for which he was sent to prison. Zhui Guang does not want to listen to this. He wants to see what will happen right now. Yunwen speaks as if it doesn't matter, these 2 rivals, and suggests the advisor start the duel. The first guardian declares that this fight will determine the future fate of the heavenly demon sect, and orders the warriors to accept the result of the duel, whatever it may be. He asks if they have anything to say. Bloody Demon has nothing to say. And the Lord of the Scarlet Sun wants to say something. The Alder Demon calls everyone to listen to him. He wants to fulfill the ancient wish of the sect, so he stands in this place right now. Crowd goes wild and groans for the Alder Demon. He honors the Bloody Demon as a warrior, but because of one person, they cannot close their eyes to their ancient goal. Now their sect lives and flourishes, so they should postpone this campaign a little longer. The Bloody Demon screams out of anger and does not understand why the Alder Demon is against this. In that case, they must respect their ancestors, whose blood flows in their veins. The Alder Demon praises the Heavenly Demon and says that they will conquer the entire Murim. Yunwen thinks that this person has a talent for speaking beautifully. First guard says, start. The fight will continue until one of the participants admits defeat. The Alder Demon and the Bloody Demon stand opposite each other and prepare for the competition. Yunwen asks the Heavenly Demon why they are just standing and looking at each other. The Heavenly Demon says, in a fight between masters of this level, any small mistake can cost a whole life. Even if it seems that they are just standing idle opposite each other, they are still studying attacks and all possible scenarios, while consuming a significant amount of chi. The boy meant that he would have already inflicted fatal wounds and ended it. The demon says that the young man is on a completely different level. The demon lord asks Yunwen's opinion. In Zhuiguang's view, the bloody demon has more advantages in the duel. Boy does not know this. He thinks, if this were a normal match, it would be exactly like that. For some reason, he feels a strange energy. Yueguang does not understand what he means. The young man tells him to just keep watching, and in a moment, he will understand everything himself. Demon of the Alder releases a stream of strong energy from both hands. His opponent in response uses the sword technique, Bloody Dragon. Yueguang says that they are both in the same realm. Yunwen thinks it seems so. But the young man does not think that the Demon of the Alder has used everything at his disposal, and that he surely has an ace up his sleeve. He launches his attack again, and the Bloody Demon easily blocks it with his sword. The man goes mad and uses the Bloody Dragon technique again. Demon of the Alder slyly dodges with a smile. In response, he uses the demonic art of the fierce solar element. Bloody Demon struggles to land blows on his opponent. After another strike, the Bloody Demon begins coughing up blood. The Demon of the Alder tries to finish him off and delivers a strong blow to the fallen opponent. However, the Bloody Demon miraculously dodged. The Demon of the Alder's hand was literally a couple of centimeters from the man's head. After this, the Bloody Demon rushed into a counterattack, but the Alder Demon simply dodged to the side. He notices his zeal, but he himself is going to finish this beautifully, and the color of his eyes changes. Yunwen notices this and tells Yueguang to protect the Bloody Demonic Lord. Man obeys his order. The Alder Demon concentrates energy in his fist and is about to finish this fight. Yueguang intercepts his attack, deflecting it, protecting the Bloody Demon. The Alder Demon does not understand who is standing before him and orders him to get out of the way. Yueguang says the match is already over and asks the Alder Demon to retreat. The Alder Demon says to kill the Bloody Demonic Lord. The Demon Lord does not understand whom the man is talking to. Yunwen felt someone's presence. First guard does not understand who these guys that appeared in the arena are. The Supreme Celestial Demon tells the 10 swords to protect the Guardians and orders the 12 Demon Masters to destroy the boys in black to the left and right of the stage. He asks Yueguang to watch his back. 2 unknowns attack the Lord of Demons. They're surprised that the man dodged their strike. Yueguang asks them who they are. Willow Demon says they are exposed and orders everyone to attack. 12 Demon Masters dismantle the people in black. The Willow Demon looks at this scene and goes mad, while Yunwen sneaks up behind him and asks what he is so fixated on. The man does not have time to turn around. The youth fires a strike at his face, breaking the ground beneath him. The Lord of Demons freezes in surprise while holding one of the attackers at the same time. The boy asks where the real demonic Lord of the Scarlet Sun is. The man did not know that there was such an expert in the celestial demonic cult and does not understand who he is. Yunwen grabs him by the scruff and says that he was the first to ask the question. If the man does not want to answer, let him not answer. In that case, Yunwen will simply vent his anger. The man's name is Zhu Huguang, an icy demonic heart. He is the deputy leader of the evil bloody cult. The young man asks in surprise to continue further. From the perspective of power, the demonic lord of the Crimson Sun and the bloody demonic lord are equal, so to break through to the central plains, the demonic lord of the Crimson Sun tried to borrow their power. Thanks to a spy that the bloody cult planted in the heavenly demonic cult, they learned that the Lord of the Crimson Sun suddenly refused their offer. Using the spy, they slowly over a long time introduced poison to the Lord of the Scarlet Sun, so although he is alive now, he can no longer use martial arts. Now the young man understood where the rumor came from that the demonic Lord of the Crimson Sun trained alone. The real demon Alka probably should already be with them now. 12 Demon Masters report that they have captured and killed all the people in black. The spectators noticed and were surprised. One of the 12 Masters called Yunwen Lord. The boy thinks how stupid the one who called him Lord is and asks if all the people in black are dead. Zhu Huguang noticed that he was the only one left alive and said to the young man, if they want to get an answer, they must keep him alive. Yunwen, they all start to get on the nerves. The man clutches his throat and sucks up to Yunwen, insisting that he is wise and that preserving his life will be useful to them. The boy says, I did not understand him. The young man does not negotiate with such degenerates. Zhu Huguang does not understand what he is talking about. The boy replies that everything is exactly as he said. He tells the demon lord to take care of the man. Spectators continue to discuss Yunwen. Moreover, they notice his sword and ring and immediately understand. These are the attributes of a heavenly demon. The one who called him master apologizes, and the boy gets angry and asks to keep his tongue behind his teeth. Now, with everything turned out this way, the young man has no choice but to take everything seriously. Yunwen shouts across the arena and introduces himself as the supreme heavenly demon, the heavenly destroyer. People are shocked and do not quite understand what he is saying. It is true that he wears the ring and sword of the heavenly demon, but they do not believe that at such a young age he can be the supreme heavenly demon. One of the spectators thinks he is crazy. Yunwen knew it would be like that, and he is curious about what exactly he must show this time to prove his identity. Yui Guang says there is no need for that and removes his mask. They realized who he was and hung in disbelief. What is the mad demonic monarch doing here? Bloody Demon was also surprised to see his uncle. The 3 guardians, the demon lord, and even the 12 demon masters knelt before Yunwen and paid him respect. After that, everyone in the hall stopped doubting his identity. They understood their lord has returned and they rejoice. In the assembly hall of the demonic pavilion, Yunwen gathered his subordinates and asked the first guard to tell him everything he knows about the evil blood cult. The old man begins his story. The evil bloody cult is the demonic cult of Tianzhu. After the Great Orthodox Demonic War, their relations were completely severed. The heavenly demonic cult had no idea that their cult had been infiltrated and that something similar was being plotted. First guard offers his apologies to the boy. Yunwen does not try to point out their mistake, he just wants to understand the situation. He asks what their size is compared to the heavenly demonic cult. The old man says their exact size is unknown, but judging by past records, it is by no means inferior to the heavenly demonic cult. The young man does not understand why under such circumstances these people are unknown on the Central Plains. The first guard answers this because they are the same secret force as they are and have never come out onto the plains. Even in the last Great Orthodox Demonic War, only part of their forces were introduced into the cult of the heavenly demon and allowed to participate in the conquests. Yunwen thinks since these bastards decided to absorb them, it means their cult is confident they are strong enough. And for now, they should find and talk about the details with the true Lord of the Scarlet Sun. The heavenly demonic cult may be in greater danger than Yunwen expected, and they will have to move forward with what he postpones. The young man declares that from now on, he will reform the heavenly demonic cult. Heavenly demonic cult cave forest. The girls who met Yunwen at the beginning of his arrival to the demonic cult talk about the return of the supreme heavenly demon. They notice his beauty and want to see him again. The first guard shouts to Yunwen that it is impossible to open the heavenly demonic secret vault. This is a tradition that has lasted for 1700 years, and only the worthy can look into these secret manuals. For some reason, this reminds the young man of old times when he was an emperor. The boy says that traditions will eventually be broken anyway, and valuable information is only valuable when applied where it is needed. Yunwen wants all students to see the secret manuals and also to use weapons and elixirs to enhance their martial arts skills. 3 guardians look irritated. The young man adds that from now on all organizational reforms will prioritize individual abilities. He does not mean that they will completely ignore seniority, but if someone has skills that surpass those of his or her elders, they can be promoted to a higher rank. The new systems proposed by the Heavenly Destroyer were indeed unconventional. All ranks of the Heavenly Demonic Cult were reorganized and divided into 10 ranks. Accordingly, each rank was assigned its own clothing color, the organization was reorganized, administrative management was minimized, and the quality of work of each chain was improved. The leader of the Demonic Emperor's Sword Squad, Yunwen's guard, will be the mad demonic monarch Zhui Guang. The man says he is at his complete disposal. He will also serve as the chief mentor for all cult disciplines. The elders discuss his decision and probably want to object. Yunwen understands it was Zhui Guang who was to blame for the bloodshed 50 years ago, but since he has already taken away his anger, there is no need to worry about it anymore. Even if his body wears out and his soul is crushed, Zhui Guang will do everything for his master and the heavenly demonic cult. The first guardian asks what will happen to the vacant position of the Scarlet Sun Demon. Yunwen is reported by subordinates. The Lord of the Scarlet Sun Demons is here. And they carry him on a stretcher. The young man does not understand what could have brought the man to such a state. The old man is curious how the youth managed to find the Alder Demon. Yunwen assumed that he was imprisoned in their cult and he was not mistaken. He wants to leave the vacant position of the Scarlet Sun Demon to him. Right Guardian objects. This man is a traitor. Yunwen knows this and his farewell happens only once. But if he decides to betray again, the young man will punish him with his own hands. The Alder Demon in tears begs to forgive him his sins. The boy will forget the mistakes of the previous Lord of the Scarlet Sun, but he asks him not to forget those hot tears that are flowing from him right now. Zhui Guang thinks that it is impossible to fathom the depth of their Lord. When they first crossed swords, his heart trembled with loyalty to their supreme ruler who existed only in books, but now his presence touches the soul differently. The heavenly demon in the books was a lonely man, and the more Zhui Guang learned about him, the more he grew fond of him. But their current Supreme Lord is a bit different. He reforms the organization, introduces new laws, and also listens to his subordinates. An unparalleled master and a transcendental demonic realm that is something else. What he sees resembles more an emperor. Perhaps his lord is more powerful than the first Supreme Lord. Zhui Guang trains his disciples. Yunwen asks him how many children have died in this training camp. About 10% died, those who could not endure the exhausting training. The man says this world is cruel, in it the strong eat the weak. Perhaps this is too harsh, but the experience gained here will be valuable for the children who are destined to live their whole lives as martial arts masters. Yunwen understands this and says that Zhui Guang is right. Children practice techniques with wooden swords. The boy notices, although they are children, how amazing how diligently they work. This is truly a strong group. He understands why every time all Murim must unite as soon as the heavenly demonic cult appears. The heavenly demonic cult had a tense life. Each organization established discipline. It supported the development of martial arts. Thanks to secret manuals, elixirs, and weapons from the heavenly demonic secret repository, the disciples reached a new level of perfection in their inner chi every day. In a moment, 2 months passed, and Yunwen finally realized that the time had come. Yunwen gathered everyone in the pavilion and said their cult had changed significantly, but as he said before, they would avoid participation in the total war with the Central Plains. Zhui Guang asks if they will continue to increase their power here. The boy says that some people from their cult will go to the Central Plains. The heavenly demonic cult will dominate in such a way that they will not feel it. Zhui Guang, Beigong Huanzhu, and Dantai Wuxian will go together with Yunwen to the Central Plains. All of the Azure Dragon, the first guardian, asks the boy to do something before leaving. The old man said for generations, the leaders of the cult used to reward the best student among the children graduating from the training hall with martial arts and weapons. This time one boy graduated with exceptional grades, but if Yunwen does not want to follow the old tradition, it is not a big deal. The boy says that of course he will do it. It is his duty to support the children who will lead the heavenly demonic cult in the future, and asks to bring this kid here. Yunwen notices that she is a girl. Beigong Zioqian greets her master. He heard about her excellent results and asks what she wants. She replies that she wants nothing. The boy is confused and does not understand her. The girl's eyes shine. She looks at him intently. The right and left guardians discuss her and consider the girl strange. Yunwen asks her who she wants to become in the future. The girl declares that she intends to become the strongest sword master. Guardians are angry about how she speaks to the Lord. The boy asks her what, in her opinion, the strongest swordsman should be like. He thinks it is someone who can defeat nature with a sword. The elders are still angry and want to know her instructor. Suddenly Yunwen shouts and says how brave she is. The girl is embarrassed and confused after his words. The boy likes her answer. He did not expect that. Guardians are utterly astonished. Yunwen wants to give her another gift besides weapons and martial arts. Since he does not have many weapons, he gives her the Emperor's sword. The first guard thinks this is too much, and regarding weapons, asks permission to bring weapons from the heavenly demonic repository. After this, the young man declares that the second gift is himself. The girl and the guardians are in shock. From now on, they will have a student-master relationship. The girl will gradually learn martial arts from him. She has mixed feelings. She is both happy and afraid at the same time. The old man wants to find out what her first gift will be. Her goal is to become the strongest sword user, a good one, but too distant. Approaching it will become her third gift. He tells her to go with him and says her next goal is the Central Plains. Beigong Zioqian shines and really wants to go with him. In honor of the Destroyer of Heavens and his squad, who set out on a journey through the Central Plains, all members of the heavenly demonic cult gathered in the large assembly hall. People in the hall are curious about how the sect leader plans to act. He asks the first guard if the old man is lying. The guardian replies that he would never dare to do that. It's just that Yunwen cannot believe that if he pours his true chi into this heavenly demonic ring, a spiritual beast will appear. Moreover, he is nervous and does not understand how they will ride him to the Central Plains. The boy asks the heavenly demon if what the old man says is true. Instead of answering, the demon suggests maybe he should try it himself. The demon has been raising him since childhood. If he is still alive, how old should he be now? Regardless of whether he is being deceived or not, he blows hard into the ring. Nothing comes out and he stops blowing. He does not see a spiritual desire. The boy thinks he has been tricked. For many generations, there existed a spiritual little beast, the use of which was allowed only to the leaders of the heavenly demonic cult, and the boy does not understand the words of the first guardian. bird of colossal size appears above his head. The heavenly demon is glad that his golden-haired falcon pet is still alive. Yunwen is frightened. He fears that the falcon will eat him because it looks terrifying. The demon says to him with a smirk not to be afraid and to extend his hand. Falcon closed its eyes in pleasure. He recognized the young man as the celestial demon the falcon, and indeed it was a mythical creature. The boy thinks that he would not be able to see such incredible things sitting in the palace and tells his team, climb onto the falcon's back. He set off for Changwon. The heavenly destroyer and his team landed in the capital of Zhejiang province, Hangzhou. This city is famous for its picturesque landscapes because it stands right on the river. Straight merchants often sailed here. It is an incredible place with a thriving culture and diverse entertainments. A girl in a red dress dances with a tambourine. Because of this, the sect warriors who had never left their territory were in cultural shock. Yunwen had seen worse in the palace, but this is the first time he walks down this lively street. The boy is a little nervous. Aegun Ziokian is hungry and offers her master a snack. She is curious about what food is prepared here. Jui Guang grabs her by the skin and tells her to speak politely to Yunwen. The boy asks to let the girl go, saying it is a trifle. The young man suggests having a snack and heading to the most popular local restaurant. The Jiangnan House was the second most important place in Changwon after the Yellow Crane Tower. Inside, it was divided into 3 levels: the General Hall, the Noble Hall, and the Royal Hall. The most expensive of them was the Royal Hall. A night there cost 100 silver nyan. The waitress approached their table. She doesn't understand why they look so angry and asks what they want to order. When asked to bring fried duck, gyoza, cold noodles, and black tea. The girl sighed. She realized they were good people and asks if they want anything else. The guy replies that they will call her if they choose her. The young man, using voice transmission, wants to tell them something before the meal. He thinks they do not fully understand what is happening. His team looks too gloomy, especially Jui Guang. After his words, the guy's forced smiles. Yunwen says in Changwon it is better to keep friendly faces and not do anything that might attract unnecessary attention, and asks the demon lord not to squeeze the smile so hard. He asks them to call him young master or simply sir from now on, because in Changwon he is known as the Heavenly Jade Dragon. And the guys also need fitting nicknames. Demon Lord is unlikely to please the city guard. Jui Guang calls the guy supreme again. The young man reminds him of his speech. The team was served food. Yunwen suggests they eat first and then decide. The girl asks why they came specifically to Hangzhou. The guy heard that the leader of the Demonic Path Association is located here. Everyone is shocked. The young man says that it is in Hangzhou that they will be able to get the necessary information as quickly as possible. Before Yunwen joined the Heavenly Demon Sect, the Northern Blade Association formed a Murim alliance. They declared that they intended to destroy the followers of the demonic path and should have already achieved the first results. Therefore, he decided to look at these results right here. Baegong Ziokian understood what he meant. 2 people pass by their table. The demon lord notices that they do not look like civilians. Yunwen says that is exactly why he hoped to see them. In this moment, he asks them not to move. They do not understand why these 2 are staring at them so intently. Yunwen thinks they are members of Murim. The guy suddenly appears behind them and greets them. The boys do not understand what he wants. He asks them where the Demonic Path Association is located. One of them draws a sword, and immediately it seems to him that their company is suspicious. Yunwen casually stops his strike. The man does not understand how his scabbard was simply stolen from under his nose. He does not understand who Yunwen is and where he gets so much strength from. The guard shouts fiercely at him, immediately release the sword and scabbard. Yunwen lets go and the man flies to the floor by inertia. His subordinates notice their master seems to be playing with this guard. The boy extends his hand and asks to forgive his rudeness, introducing himself as the Heavenly Jade Dragon. He asked about the associations because he went abroad for 3 months and wants to know what happened in Murim during his absence. Men fall to their knees before him and apologize for not recognizing him. The young man asks to be answered one question. He is curious about what people in Murim are saying about him now. The guards say that in Murim there is no one who does not know about the Heavenly Jade Dragon. He has subdued the bandit leader, and now he is the abbot of Shaolin instead of Jiagun and the most influential person in the alliance of 9 orthodox sects. The boy does not understand since when the heavenly demon thinks they are right, but the young man says it was all quite different. The girl says in the end the most attention is attracted not by his words but by himself. Yunwen asks to return to his question and wants to know what happened in Murim during these 3 months. The Muram alliance, led by the leader of the Northern Blade Association, Dugu Henshin, attacked the Demonic Path Syndicate, which was based in the suburbs of Hangzhou. But instead of victory, they suffered heavy losses at the hands of the Demonic Path Syndicate, the very one that was fully prepared for their attack. The boy knew that the Muram Alliance's forces were many times greater than those of the Demonic Path Syndicate, and he does not understand how this happened. Instead of a head-on battle, the Demonic Path Syndicate switched to a hit-and-run tactic, while on the other hand, the Muram Alliance must remain noble because a momentary carelessness can cost a whole life. The boy believes that the syndicate is not despicable, but rather worthy of praise. Avoiding a direct attack is a very wise decision. The man says all the key forces of the Demonic Path Syndicate have hidden underground and continue to fight. Using secret branches they scattered everywhere, so the damage inflicted on the Muram Alliance was extremely significant. And although these are only rumors, everything happened because the Demonic Path Syndicate invited a descendant of the Zhuge clan from the Orthodox sects to be their advisor. The second man tells his companion to think more carefully about what he says, and the man asks Yunwen to forget his words. That's all they know, and the guys regret they can't help anymore. Yunwen says that's enough and thanks them for the information. Guys think about what kind of warrior Wenyan is cool. The young man did not expect such resilience from the Demonic Path Syndicate, especially against the entire Muram Alliance. He is curious who it could be, a member of the Orthodox sect, a descendant of the Zhuge family, the advisor through whom this incident happened. He orders his subordinates to prepare for departure because they have somewhere to go. Even when Yunwen had a way to contact the No twins, he usually used the Golden Frog Money Shop. Being the best money shop on the Central Plains, the Golden Frog Shop was the largest in scale and had branches in every corner of the country. Zhang Yunxin, the branch manager in Hangzhou, appears and does not understand who is looking for him. If this man intends to waste the manager's time, Zhang Yunxin will personally teach him a lesson. Yunwen and his team stand in the shop. The manager does not know what to do with these teenagers because they are always penniless. He does not know who Yunwen is, so he does not understand why to ask for a personal meeting. The young man shows him his emperor's token. The man realizes his mistake, and the expression on his face immediately changes. He greets the honored guest. In the reception area of the Golden Frog Shop, Zhang Yunxin pours tea for the boys. He apologizes for his rudeness and says that something bad happened to him yesterday. The boy asks him not to worry. He has arrived to find out where the No brothers are. Although the twins are elusive, they can be contacted at any time. Yunwen then asks to pass on the message for them to come to Hangzhou. The manager asks if the guys have already decided where they will stay. The guy replies that they have not decided yet. The man asks to be allowed to escort them to the inner hall of the best pavilion of Jiangnan, and moreover is ready to repent for his rudeness. Yunwen thinks this place is too expensive, and the manager asks him not to joke. The boy asks how much money he can spend using this token. Zhang Yunxin replies that he can spend an unlimited amount of money because he is the actual owner of the money store, Golden Frog. His entire team, including himself, was very surprised by this. Unlimited is a huge capital. Yunwen thinks the No twins are incredible since they have such a store. Thanks to them, he will have no money problems in the Central Plains. In Hangzhou at night, the city was more attractive than during the day. People walked and had fun. Since there was nothing to do until the twins arrived, Yunwen and his company decided to take a little walk and look around the city. The branch store manager sent a man to accompany the boys this evening in Hangzhou. Yunwen is glad that they hear this and asks to take care of them. The man shows where they should go. Everyone had already decided and rejoiced, but Yunwen quickly dispelled their merriment and told them, passing on the words, that today they would not be able to simply sightsee. He orders them to train in order to fit into the Central Plains. Again asks them to keep themselves restrained and not to cause a disturbance. Yunwen and Zhui Guan stand and watch the fireworks. Yunwen asks the Demon Lord what he is thinking about and if he is not bored. Zhui Guan is not bored here. Every time this place impresses with its beauty, and each time it makes him gasp. Yunwen thought he had enough experience in such matters. The man says in all his 137 years he is encountering something like this for the first time since he immersed himself in martial arts. The boy is surprised by Zhui Guan's age and considers him old. In any case, Yunwen intends to keep his promise, and the Demon Lord will not regret following the youths from the heavenly demonic sanctuary. The Demon Lord thanks him and accidentally bumps shoulders with a passerby. Zhui Guan calmly apologizes to the passerby. The man instead just snarls and insults him. Yunwen prays that the Demon Lord does not cause a commotion. The Passerby says he has a dislocated shoulder, and if Zhui Guang keeps his mouth shut, it will not solve the problem. Demon Lord grabs him, squeezing his shoulder. The man asks him what he is doing. Zhui Guang thinks the man's shoulder is fine. Passerby does not understand what the Demon Lord is doing and threatens him. Simple apologies will not get him off the hook. He asks what he should do then for the man to forgive him. Passersby discuss the conflict and think a fight is about to start. The man orders, let him crawl. If Zhui Guang crawls between his legs, then he will forgive him. Yunwen worries that Zhui Guang might do something rash. However, the Demon Lord simply fulfills the passerby's request and crawls between his legs. The man does not understand why Zhui Guang did not argue. He just took it and did as he was told. Other people watching the conflict are also surprised. Yunwen understood the Demon Lord went this far only because of his words. Zhui Guang asked if this is enough. The passerby thought to humiliate him even more, but decides that this is already enough. Demon Lord asks again. Zhui Guang thinks this is enough. Spectators also think that the bald man should keep his promise, since Zhui Guang did nothing of the sort. Yunwen tells him to leave it in the past and part peacefully, because it is a good day not worth spoiling. The man pushes the young man in response and does not understand who he is to give him orders. Demon Lord grabs him by the head and slams him into the ground. The onlookers are shocked by this. If it is his master's order to crawl between his legs, he will do it calmly, without any hesitation. He will never tolerate some bastard touching his lord with his dirty hand. All the people scatter from him and are afraid because he just killed a man. Yunwen asked him to be more careful, but Zhui Guang says he could not tolerate such treatment of his master. The man who accompanied them along with the whole team runs to Yunwen. He is angry because now they will have to clean up after them. Guy apologizes to him for getting into a fight and asks if it will be difficult to settle everything here. The escort says that it is not a problem and that it will be hard for him and Yunwen's team to leave the Central Plains safe and sound. The young man thinks about the person they killed. She seemed to be quite important and he wants to know the details. He says that this man is not just a small bug. Behind him stands the syndicate of the demonic path. Yunwen did not expect this, and maybe he should thank the Demon Lord for it. To avoid revenge from the syndicate of the demonic path, they have to take some action, but they do not know exactly what to do. The young man thinks there is some way and says, if the escort does what he orders, he will manage to avoid trouble. The next day, announcements were posted all over Hangzhou. They wrote about the incident of the previous night and stated that if anyone has a debt or grievance, anyone who wants to settle it can come to Wen Yun at the Jiangnan Pavilion. People think he says this sarcastically and that it is some kind of joke. Bagan Zioqian asks the master to teach her today. He does not understand what she is talking about. The girl reminds him of the promise to teach her fencing. The Demon Lord supports this idea, saying that Yunwen would also benefit from some fresh air and they will protect the pavilion. He has done nothing all this time to be considered her master and asks if she is ready to learn. The girl shines. She is determined to become the most hardworking student in the whole world. In that case, he agrees and says he will return soon. Yunwen informs Zhui Guang that guests will soon visit them. The Demon Lord thinks it is the syndicate of the demonic path. The boy confirms and asks, do not kill them but extract information. They only need two things, the exact location and a way to establish contact. Not far from Hangzhou, the girl trains in fencing under Yunwen's guidance. The boy tells her to be soft like the spring wind and it must happen lightning fast. She should focus on the tip of her sword. Her hands tremble as she grips the sword. Yunwen thinks it is unusual for her. After all, this is a new sword and she will get used to it later. The girl drinks water greedily. The boy asks what she feels when practicing the initial movements of the three heavenly demonic swords, but she is not sure yet. When she reaches great heights, the girl will enter the state of the sword of the mind, even if it will be difficult for her. He tells her, never give up and always move forward towards your goal. The girl reminds him that he has not taught her anything yet. The boy understands this, but he had very little time and he will try harder. He has rested enough and is ready to train again. Yunwen asks the heavenly demon why he has become so grumpy. The demon does not understand why the boy is smiling while looking at his student. After all, he has not yet conquered the world to pay attention to students. The young man does not understand what suddenly happened to him. The demon shouts and he does not like it. He does not like the boy's decision to spare the members of the demonic path syndicate. Yunwen replies that this is not some childish fight and he knows, if he does that, he will have to face the entire Murim. Demon says he can fight anyone. Yuinen supports the young man and himself believes that there is no need for unnecessary killings. The boy asks the demon not to worry, because this is only the beginning of his journey as a heavenly destroyer. The heavenly demon thinks the boy only knows how to speak well. Yunwen heard something. It seems Zhuiguang completed his mission. Yunwen returned to the pavilion. Representatives of the demonic sect are lying dead, and the boy asked Zhuiguang to leave them alive. Zhuiguang spared one life. He left him for interrogation. He is breathing, but the boy does not know if this person can be considered alive. Zhuiguang tells him to tell everything to his master, what he already told him before, specifically about the location of the sect and the method of communication. Suddenly, the hostage uses a kunai to tear the rope and jumps up from the chair. He was waiting for their leader to come to finish him off. Baegun Zyrakan deals with him using the technique triple blades of the heavenly demon. He will not kill him because it is Yunwen's order. The girl does not think the man has trained enough to fight their master. He is very surprised because those who were here had strong skills, but this girl seems to be not yet 12 years old and already so strong. Yunwen thanks the girl for the good work and approaches their hostage. Guy said that now it is the man's turn to answer the questions. Perhaps the shock from the defeat of the young girl after one strike was too great, and the killer from the demonic path syndicate obediently answered his questions. In the end, the heavenly destroyer obtained a lot of information about the demonic path syndicate. It had 8 leading forces that carried out the group's missions, and they were called the 8 factions of the demonic path. There was also a separate sword killer unit, which was under the direct command of the demonic path syndicate's apartment headquarters, and they came to kill Yunwen and his team on the orders of the leader of this unit. Guy asks how they are connected. The man says the deceased was the cousin of their squad commander. Guy asks to be taken to their commander to apologize to him personally. The prisoner is in shock. He believes that the commander already knows they were defeated and sent people from the group here to restore order. So, this is no different from suicide. Heavenly Demon notices that quite a few of them are here. There is no longer a need to go out to meet them. Considering their direction and speed, Yunwen thinks they are already here. The guy intends to believe what the Demon Lord says, and if something goes wrong, Zhuiguang will bear the responsibility. The man asks to be believed and assures the young man of success. Other boys discuss this. Yunwen and Zhuiguang talked about it 2 days ago. 2 days ago, on the night of the dispute, the Demon Lord decided the young man needs a strong appearance. Yunwen thinks the man wants to say that his face looks pathetic. Zhuiguang confirms this. He believes that instead of saying the young man looks weak, one should say he looks handsome. The boy thinks only about foolish idiots. They chase after appearance or fake names. Zhuiguang and all the others know well about his strength, but weaklings from the Central Plains might make false conclusions if they judge only by appearance. He suggests simply wearing Yunwen's mask when needed. Yunwen tells the man he is lucky to be a member of the Sword Killer's squad, because he will be the first to see Yunwen's second form, the one he applied thanks to the art of transformation. The captive looks stunned by this. The boy ordered him to move and tell his commander that the writer of the Heavenly Demon has arrived, the Heavenly Destroyer. The crowd on the street does not understand what is happening in the best pavilion of Jiangnan. They think that the pavilion is temporarily closed, the lights inside are off. The man replies that due to certain circumstances, their pavilion is temporarily closed today. For the first time, I would never have thought that the best pavilion of Jiangnan is closed. For the knife, this man is told, keep up the good work. The syndicate of the demonic path has taken the staff hostage. Yunwen says since they are already here, let them stop sneaking around secretly and come in. The man secretly peeks through the crack of the door. The hostage of the Heavenly Destroyer panics. Judging by his reaction, the boy understands. This bastard is the commander of the Ha Jingchun squad. The commander orders the man to commit suicide because all his comrades are dead. The man trembles but intends to carry out the order. Yunwen stops him and asks the commander how he dares to kill his prisoner by his own order. Ha Jingchun notices the boy's courage and asks if he knows exactly where he is. The boy says this is the best pavilion in Jiangnan and an expensive, cozy establishment. The commander draws his blade and says, whether he is a member of the Murim Alliance or a simple traveler, today he will die. Yunwen replies that he will not die today, the commander will die. They both prepare to finish each other with a single strike. Ha Jingchun, the one who cuts with one strike, the name of the elder who intended to chop off Yunwen's head. And the commander lunged at the boy with his blade. The boy thinks that in the sword strike, compared to the man's nickname, there is nothing worthy of attention. The youth easily deflects his attack. The man is shocked. He managed to lose sensitivity from just one strike. He does not understand why Yunwen does not draw his sword. The boy replies that he is not sure. He does not think he can fight with a sword without killing the commander. These were not words that could be ignored, yet it was precisely one of these reasons that allowed Ha Jinjun to rise to the position of commander due to his insight. After this clash, the man felt the strength of his opponent, although he did not understand what exactly had happened. Till he figures out what is going on, he decides to observe a little. Captive Yunwen asks his commander to stop because the boy is the scribe of the heavenly demon, the heavenly destroyer. The commander thinks that his subordinate is not lying. According to rumors, the heavenly destroyer killed all the members of the squad, and their clash and death also prove that he was not bluffing. The heavenly destroyer, whom their headquarters so desperately wanted to meet, is standing right in front of him now, and Ha Jingchun considers this otherworldly luck. The headquarters of the demonic path syndicate sent experts all over the world to recruit the heavenly destroyer, but his whereabouts remained unknown. The commander realized this is his chance to raise his status if he becomes the liaison between the demonic path syndicate and the heavenly destroyer. Ha Jingchun suddenly became humble and asks the boy if it is true that he is the heavenly destroyer. The young man does not understand why he suddenly became so obedient. Yui Guang thinks it is because of the boy's changed face. Yunwen thought the man was right, but in reality the reason was not that. The commander wants to introduce himself officially. His name is Ha Jingchun. He leads the Killing Swords unit, which is directly subordinate to the demonic path syndicate, and he is glad to meet the young man. The boy thinks since the commander just tried to kill him and now he is so kind, it must be thanks to his appearance. The commander does not understand him, but in any case, the syndicate of the demonic path has long been gathering information about this boy, and if he joins them, Ha Jingchun will take care of him. Yunwen Yu does not need to go to the headquarters himself, so he just asks to pass the words to their leader. The boy is not on any side in Murim and can no longer tolerate the crimes of the Northern Blade Association. Therefore, as a person who has a common enemy, he wants to meet the syndicate leader personally and discuss everything. The commander asks if Yunwen is not going to the headquarters, then where does he want to meet? The young man sets the meeting for 10 days later at the Pavilion of Neutrality in Kaifeng. Ha Jingchun does not understand why exactly there, since the Murim Alliance headquarters is there. The boy does this because he has people in Kaifeng whom he can trust. Commander worries something might go wrong. Yunwen assures that if something goes wrong, he will personally defend their grandmasters. The man is surprised the young man talks about it as if it were a simple fight. He promises to deliver a message to the leader of the demonic path syndicate. That's how the commotion with the Killing Swords unit ended. 2 days later, Yunwen asks Zioqian not to run around the pavilion. Yunwen notices the pavilion owner's dissatisfaction and asks him what happened. He thinks it's because of that incident with the demonic path syndicate. Master Bao says that recently the number of customers has significantly decreased. After the incident with the demonic path syndicate, the Murim Alliance members continued to monitor the pavilion and prowled among the guests. Because of this, visitors began to disperse en masse. The boy gasps and shouts, not understanding how they dared. He wants to deal with them right now. Thanks to the Golden Toad shop, the Heavenly Destroyer set off for the Murim Alliance branch in Hangzhou. The shop manager says after the Murim Alliance came to power, local merchants suffered greatly because the alliance continues to expand its territories using force. Merchants fear that at this rate, all local trading districts will be captured. Yunwen is angry about the pavilion incident, and also the Murim Alliance influences the trading world. The man says they cooperate with merchants who listen to them, and those who oppose are forced to submit, so there are no people opposing them. The boy does not understand how many more enemies the alliance will manage to make for itself. At the store Golden Frog, everything is fine because they rely on the support of the imperial family and government ministers. They arrived at the Murim Alliance branch in Hangzhou. Yunwen thinks that they put all their strength into him. Guards ask who he is and whether the boy is registered for an appointment. He shouts at the Hangzhou branch manager to come outside. The guard asks who he thinks he is to cause a scene here, and Yunwen orders him to disappear. The branch manager comes out and asks who dared to cause a commotion in broad daylight. Yunwen recognizes him. Wu Hencheng heard this. He does not understand who dares to address the manager like that. Suddenly the expression on his face changes. It seems he recognized Yunwen. At first he was not sure, but now he really understood. This is the former commander of the Mandate Squad, and he points at him. The manager thinks about what sin he committed to have to run into this devil again. The boy says that they haven't seen each other for a long time. The guard is surprised they are acquainted after all. In the reception hall of the Murim Alliance branch in Hangzhou, Yunwen and the warrior Wu are drinking tea. The young man says, Wu looks much better than before, thinks it's because Wu has now become the branch manager. Yunwen places his cup of tea and is about to get down to business, but the young man stops at the first pavilion of Jiangnan. Suspicious people are constantly lurking around him. The man does not understand which bastards dared to loiter near the place where the boy stopped. He thinks that nowadays children are fearless. The young man suspects that this is the work of the manager. He looks scared and says that it is not him. Wu jumps up from behind the table and the man says he needs to go to the toilet. Yunwen laughingly notices that Wu runs quite fast. The man could not have imagined that the young man was involved with the best pavilion of Jiangnan. A little earlier, Wu gave the order to monitor the entire pavilion and also to study every client who entered the pavilion. He rushes to one of his subordinates and orders him to immediately go to the best pavilion of Jiangnan and take all their people from there. The branch manager of the alliance returned to Yunwen and said, apparently there were problems with his breakfast. The guy says if Wu has problems, then of course he will have an upset stomach and advises him to be cautious. Wu does not understand that the young man is in a state of anxiety. The man looks agitated. Yunwen says that if the area around the pavilion in Jiangnan is free, then no problems will arise and asks Wu to take care of it. The man understood the boy already knows everything. Wu says he will not allow anyone to approach this place. One could say the problem is solved and the boy is interested in how things are currently in Murem. He asks because he only recently returned from a trip and wants to know about the latest events, a great opportunity for Yunwen to extract information about the Northern Blade Association. The man says that the most recent event was probably the operation to destroy the Demonic Path Syndicate. The story told by Wu Henchun differed little from the rumors throughout Hangzhou, but Yunwen noted new information for himself. The reason the Demonic Path took root in Murem was their foundations, which are rooted in the commercial world. So to cut off the roots of the Demonic Path Syndicate, the Murem Alliance is trying to seize the commercial world. And they say that conflict exists even within the Murem Alliance itself. They say the Alliance of 9 Orthodox clans and the League of 5 clans are fighting with Dugu Henshin over all matters. However, apart from them, all forces are under the command of the Alliance leader, so, as the Alliance leader himself said, this will be a minor problem. Yunwen does not think so. He does not understand. Could it be that the Alliance leader does not know the full seriousness of the situation? He is transported to childhood memories. His grandfather asks the boy if he knows what can destroy a huge dam. Yunwen thinks something like erosion. That is exactly what it is capable of. The old man says the boy is mistaken, but he himself does not understand why. Grandfather is convinced a gigantic dam can be moved only by a single rat. The boy does not think that a single rat is capable of bringing the dam to destruction. Over time, the burrow that the rat dug to build its nest will turn into a large crack. Through this small rat hole, no matter the size of the dam, sooner or later it will still collapse. The great empire is no different from this. The smaller the risk seems, the more attention must be paid. There's a limit to how long enemies can be ignored, and Yunwen is curious about what Dugu Henshin will do. Wu asked Yunwen when he planned to join the Murem Alliance, and the young man looks confused. It is already getting dark, and the boy leaves the branch. The steward Wu will convey the boy's words to the Alliance leader. Yunwen still answered the man. He intended to set off for the Alliance in a few days. Wu says the strength of this boy will be useful to the Murem Alliance. Although the young man managed to brush it off, he will probably soon have to face the Murem Alliance. Still, it's good that he visited the branch. It seems the Murem Alliance is not as strong as it claims. This information will be useful later. The boy returned to the pavilion and told everything to the owner. The man thanks him because now he can rest. Yuan-Zhu, using sound transmission, wants to say something, but Yunwen does not understand what happened and why he is using this art right now. The guest visited them. The Heavenly Destroyer felt nothing special, and he talks the same way with Mr. Bao during the audio transmission. The monarch without a shadow asks the young man to be careful because this person, upon entering, said that he is his guest. He came from the headquarters of the Demonic Path Syndicate. The young man asks Mr. Bao not to bother him because he had a hard day. He wants to rest. The syndicate leader had to hurry because he came to the pavilion without waiting for their meeting. The young man says, right, 10 days is too long to sit idly. Yunwen thinks by the voice that it is a woman. He does not understand how Zhui Guang let her in so easily. The man says she was extremely polite. The guy gets angry and reprimands his subordinate. Zhui Guang offers his apologies. Yunwen heard about how the Demonic Path Syndicate skillfully deals with the Murem Alliance. Despite being cornered, he was glad to hear this news. The syndicate leader says, the young man is only right in one thing. They really managed to smash those bastards from the Muram Alliance, but he is mistaken in considering the girl the leader. The boy did not understand after all, he wanted to talk to the leader. After confirming her identity, Yunwen will probably change his mind. He is stunned by this confusion. The girl's name is Zhuge Cao Hong. She is an advisor to the Demonic Path Syndicate and has a rather attractive appearance. Yunwen has recently been saying that girl's name often now it echoes throughout the Muram. For him, it was truly a surprise to meet her in person. Zhuge says she herself should be surprised considering how bloody his history is. She thought he looked even more vicious. Girl thinks he's quite handsome. Aegun calls her older sister and says what a cool master he is. Yunwen is shocked by this arrangement. He does not like that his subordinate told him nothing. He cuts the discussion short, stating that it is too noisy here and suggests moving to another place for the conversation. They have to discuss this alone, without their subordinates. Zhui Guang grabs Zioqian by the scruff and pulls her out of the room. The shadow warrior tells her to stop acting like a child. The girl wanted to be with the master and older sister. Zhuge and Yunwen sit at the table opposite each other. Zioqian must worry about the girl, but the boy is also interested in hearing the story the girl wanted to tell. Zhuge said to Zioqian, asking who among the many promising Muram talents is the strongest. Yunwen thinks that this fits her exactly and asks what Zhuge replied to her. The girl told her about two people. One of them is the star of the demonic path, the heavenly destroyer. The second star of the orthodox path is the jade divine dragon Wenyun. The boy is shocked after all, these are his two personalities. Zhuge thinks, judging by the young man's face, he just heard about the jade divine dragon. He replies to her that he has heard something from others. But eventually in Muram, people began to call the alliance leader the Great Master, Taoist Master of Wuding Zhang Sanfeng, and these two are the five heavens of Muram. Yunwen hears about the five heavenly Murams for the first time. The girl says this is quite obvious because they have only recently started to be called that. Yet people are only interested in the heavenly destroyer and the jade divine dragon. The guy doesn't understand why, since there are 5 people in the 5 heavens of Murama, but only these 2 are of interest. Zhuge says quite logically, to focus on the suddenly appeared new talents. People are curious who is stronger, the heavenly destroyer or the jade divine dragon. Yunwen thinks about how troublesome it is because there are 2 such personalities in him. He was only hiding his identity to act depending on the situation, and Muram was confused after Wenyun and the heavenly destroyer recognized each as a separate personality. Heavenly Demon asks the young man why he looks so worried. The demon says that these 2 personalities can become his weapon, and the boy is capable of turning a crisis into an opportunity. Hyanin says that the heavenly demon is plotting something sinister. The demon says he is not talking to him. The monk and the demon are arguing with each other. The monk asks the heavenly demon if he ever hit him with a wooden stick, and Yunwen considers the demon right if he uses it well. Zhuge tells the boy that he can tell him his story since there is nothing more to ask. The young man agrees. She immediately takes the bull by the horns. The syndicate of the demonic path needs the power of the heavenly destroyer. Yunwen knew that the girl would say something like that and asks her, why won't the syndicate of the demonic path solve all problems with its cleverness? Zhuge says no matter what her abilities are, one person cannot cope with the power of the Murama Alliance. Thinking about this from this perspective, he himself begins to become a personality, so he believes. The girl says that this is not true. She believes that sitting in front of her is not a person but a star. The boy thinks that this joke is completely tasteless. Zhuge, on the contrary, was impressed by her own wordplay. She thinks the boy liked it. He flatters her, saying that she has a talent for making people laugh, and the boy is interested in what they will do if he refuses. The girl will not be able to do anything if he refuses. But if rumors spread that here is the heavenly destroyer, the Muram Alliance will do everything possible to attack him. Yunwen thinks they will spread rumors if he does not cooperate with them. The girl says it depends on what he thinks. However, under any circumstances, the orthodox path will suffer great losses regardless of whom he fights, and if it benefits their syndicate, then Zhuge will do anything. The boy thought she was gentle, but it turns out she is quite a scary woman. He understands why the Muram Alliance has so many problems with her. And yet the young man, the same one holding the sword hilt, does not know whether he should accept the offer or not. He asks if the syndicate will fulfill any of his conditions. The girl asks to first tell her about these conditions. He has only 2 conditions. First, no one has the right to command him or restrict his actions. Second, he asks to be granted the authority to command the forces of the syndicate of the demonic path whenever he requests it. Juge thinks although there are only 2 conditions, it sounds like he wants to become a great master. Yunwen tells her not to complicate things. He wants to become a great master of the demonic path. He is curious about what she plans to do. Girl agrees but has a favor in return. Boy thinks that asking him for a favor is shameless. Juge knows this. Even if she has to kneel, she wants to borrow the power of the heavenly destroyer. Yunwen asks in surprise if she will do everything for the benefit of the syndicate of the demonic path, to which she replies, yes. Boy says, considering the despair they are in, he is ready to listen to the girl. The current syndicate of the demonic path is collapsing from within. The Council of Elders, which holds the syndicate's power, is jeopardizing the authority of the Great Master. Yunwen thinks the Master could simply remove them. It would be great, but right now there is a war with the Murim Alliance. If Juge or the squad subordinate to the Grandmaster takes on solving internal problems, the syndicate will suffer a heavy blow and will collapse. The boy is surprised that problems exist not only in the Murim Alliance, even within the syndicate of the demonic path everything has gone awry. Yunwen realized even if he takes control of the syndicate, he will not be able to manage it. The girl says that's true, but if Yunwen removed all the rot from the syndicate of the demonic path and reformed it, everything would be different. The boy asks her, can he call the syndicate of the demonic path his own after he does this? Juge tells him to act as he himself sees fit. He calls him the Great Young Master of the Demonic Path. Yunwen asks her what kind of position is Great Young Master of the Demonic Path. The girl asks him to speak calmly. The young man's place is next to the Great Master. Even he cannot give orders to the boy, and the young man has full authority to inspect and punish all the disciples of their syndicate. The boy is surprised because he is not a great master, yet his position corresponds to this. He knows that Juge is not a master and doubts that she can make such a decision. She cannot tell him everything in detail but asks the young man not to worry about it. Yunwen asks her if this means they will not tell him everything. He thinks it is somehow connected to their plan. The young man says if this is what she wants, he is ready to become part of this plan. The lad asks to be told where their hoe is and he will be there in a few days. He gathered his squad and asks if everyone is here. Guys call out to him. Xiaokan asks Huanzhu what the master will say to them. The boy replies, just listen to the master's words and you will find out everything. The girl says to the shadow warrior, don't be so cold towards the girl. Yunwen watches their quarrel. Guy asks Zhu Guan to sort it out. The man orders the newcomers to be silent because their lord is about to start the speech. Now that everyone has gathered, he suggests moving straight to business. He told the members of the heavenly demonic cult everything he knew himself, as well as what he had recently learned. Yunwen told them about the Jade Divine Dragon, revealed his true identity and the meaning of his pseudonyms in Murim, as well as the story about the Demonic Path Syndicate. Therefore, his team will also have to adapt depending on how Yunwen's position and status change, and there can be no mistakes. Zhu Guan guesses that they will also have to resort to the art of transfiguration. The guy says that Zhu Guang, Huanzhu, and Wu Xian will use the art of transfiguration. And since Xiao Qing cannot use it due to weak qi, she will accompany him only when Yunwen is in the form of the Heavenly Destroyer. And when he is the Jade Divine Dragon, let her pretend not to know him. The girl does not understand how to do this, and many people have already seen her accompany him in Hangzhou. Yunwen says that they have not been on the Central Plains for very long, so everything is fine. He just asks to be more careful from now on. He asks her not to be upset and simply not to be with him when he is in the form of the Jade Divine Dragon. As always, they must not act on their own, without his order. Guy shows Zhu Guan be extremely careful because your skills are very different from the others. The man is surprised. Yunwen does not scold him, he just asks him to be more careful because he is very strong. Zhu Guang behaves like a child, he blushes from his master's praise. He asks the guys if they know any martial arts of orthodox sects that can be used. Huanzhu knows them, and Wu Xian has not tried yet. He asks Wu Xian to try to imitate the martial arts of orthodox sects based on her specialization, the swift sword. The girl is also pleased with the praise. She had no idea that the Heavenly Destroyer would remember her specialization. From now on, he forbids the use of demonic martial arts without his order while they are on the Central Plains. Yunwen is confident she is definitely not an ordinary woman and a beast lurks in her heart. Zhu Guang asks his master what he means. She told him that their syndicate is located under Dongting Lake, and the girl assured the boy he will not regret his decision. The boy thinks about the location. They chose it knowing that a fight with the Murim Alliance would begin, and this is their strategy. When orthodox sects became stronger, they always tried to suppress the demonic path. Zhuge was simply preparing for the future by reflecting on the past, so she does not think this can be called a strategy. Yunwen says she is incredible, and he heard that she is a descendant of the prestigious Zhuge family, so he asks why she is going to turn away from the orthodox path. She says there is a person she wants to kill, and now he leads the orthodox path. Boy understood that she was talking about Dugu Henshin. Zhui Guang is surprised the name Dugu Henshin comes up too often. Yunwen says the leader of the Murem Alliance truly an amazing person, and it seems he wants to make the entire Murem his enemies. The man asks the Heavenly Destroyer who these people are with whom they are about to meet. Yunwen is tired of hearing this question all the way and says these people are his benefactors. Zhui Guang simply cannot contain his curiosity about who these people are, whom his master calls his benefactors. Yunwen tells him that she is curious too. He is curious about how the No twins are doing. Manager Jan says that the brothers are already waiting for him in the reception. He enters the room and Huan No, surprised, grabs his cup of tea and drops it. Boy asks how the old men are doing. They rush into his arms. The twins say they are fine, seeing how energetic their milord is. Huan No, with the sadness in his eyes with which he saw the young man on Mount Tai, completely disappeared and he regained his world again. They cry with joy. Huan No does not understand how he can address the boy other than His Majesty the Emperor. The boy asks them not to cry so much and they make him cry as well. The azure-faced demon king Ha Gunpyo also arrived with the No brothers and greets Yunwen. He is surprised at how huge Ha Gunpyo has become. He wonders what training the azure-faced demon king received and why he is still without clothes. The man survived a time he does not even want to remember, all thanks to Yunwen's mercy. Zhui Guang is jealous of Ha Gunpyo towards his master and does not understand how he dares to speak like that to the Heavenly Destroyer. They butt heads with each other. Yunwen orders them not to spoil such a wonderful day. The men obey. Nishchai Pang is also here and greets the young man. The boy asks how he is doing and the old man says he cannot be unwell when spending time with the granddaughter of his sworn enemy. Zulan enters the room and asks the boy if he feels well. Zulan tells the boy that he has not returned for so long after saying he would come back soon. Yunwen could do nothing about it. Troubles kept coming at him from all sides. The boy asks the lady how she feels. She replies that thanks to him, the girl lives quite comfortably next to the great leader of the beggar gang. The old man cuts them off mid-sentence and suggests starting to talk about the reason they all gathered here. The girl asks Peng how he can be so heartless. After that, the meeting began. Only those whom Yunwen gave approval participated in it. Peng says the situation in Murama at the moment is quite serious because the Murama Alliance suppresses those who rise against them under the pretext of destroying the demonic path, and the alliance of the 9 Orthodox and the League of 5 Clans have become mere assistants. This is an obvious political scheme, but the young man does not understand how the alliance of the 9 Orthodox and the League of 5 Clans so quickly bowed under the influence of the Northern Blade Association. The old man says hope is not lost because a new organization has appeared. This is a secret organization created by young promising talents from the alliance of 9 Orthodox and the League of 5 Clans. Its goal is to keep the alliance leader and designated forces in check so that they do not abuse their power and do not resort to tyranny if the alliance remains alive after the victory over the demonic path. The boy is a little stunned because Dugu Henshin is not the kind of person who would allow such a secret organization to exist. Pang tells the alliance leader that there are not only no reasons to oppose their organization, and according to rumors, they have also received significant support from Dugu Henshin himself. Young masters of the Northern Blade Association are also involved in this. The old man asks Yunwen if he knows how Dugu Henshin deals with his enemies. The young man replies, if possible, he will eliminate them. And if it is impossible to destroy them, he will try to make them his allies. If the young man were in his place, he would do the same. Pang agrees with him. The alliance leader from the beginning, one could say, insisted on their creation, granted them authority, and encouraged their activities. He planned to make them leaders among his people, but there were too many outstanding individuals in the organization. No one agreed to accept someone as their leader, so the plan failed. The leader of the beggars gang thinks that Dugu Henshin is now sleeping poorly. This story is of great interest to Yunwen, an independent force in the Murem alliance that opposes him. Moreover, the leadership position is currently vacant. The boy did not expect less from the best gang in the world. No one knows the situation in Murem better than the beggars gang. The No twins think Pang wants to take all the attention of their master for himself. The elders have prepared a special squad for Yunwen. For over 30 years, they have secretly gathered and trained orphans, and now there are nearly 1,000 of them. The young man says this for quite a long time and is interested in what their current level is. They say that there is no outstanding expert among them, but one man has accumulated 120 years of internal chi, and Yunwen praises them, saying they have done a wonderful job. He knows for sure that this is at least in comparison with the celestial demonic cult, but without any doubt it is a great power. Beggar Pang asks the young man what his relationship with Lady Zulan is. The boy says they are just acquaintances. After the boy left her with the king of beggars, she kept questioning him about Yunwen, so the old man decided that there was some special relationship between them. The boy realized he needed to change the subject, so he asks where the woman who was always next to Zulan has gone. The old man says this Hwansa has disappeared. Everyone is already dispersing, and Yunwen asks them to repeat once again what he asked all of them. He ordered Ha Gongpai to secretly gather practitioners of the demonic path who are not members of the demonic path syndicate and create an organization, as well as wait for further orders. He asked Pang to mobilize all members of the beggars gang and investigate the actions of forces in the trading world and the movements of forces beyond the Great Wall. He ordered the twins No to monitor and control the cash flows on the Central Plains through the Golden Frog Bank and to beware of forces trying to establish close contact with the Imperial Palace. Also, they must unite with small and medium traders and secretly shake up the trading world of the Murim Alliance. He suggests they conclude the meeting and see each other again next time. After the meeting, the old men continued to tell each other stories they hadn't finished. Dui Guang tells Ha Gunpyo that next time they meet, they will have a real fight. Man nods and will no longer forget Zhui Guang's ugly face. Zulan wants to say goodbye to Yunwen, but doesn't know when they will meet again. Yunwen doesn't know what this girl thinks of him, and he still has a lot of work, so he doesn't understand if he will manage to live up to her expectations. She says that Hwansa has not yet returned from her mission, and the only man the girl knows in the beggars gang is the gang leader, so perhaps she missed the boy more than usual. The old man tells Lan, until now he doesn't know about Hwansa's disappearance. It would hurt her to realize that the person she trusted and relied on has left. Yunwen felt sorry for the girl. He should have taken better care of her. She takes off her necklace and asks the young man to accept it, and she will be satisfied if every time he sees this accessory, he thinks of her. The boy says that this is too fashionable an accessory to take. Zulan replies that it's okay, it's just her stubbornness. The girl asks not to worry about it. Yunwen says it's not about that it's burdensome to carry things with him, but he thinks it would be perfect if he places the ornament on his wrist. Girl politely agrees with him. The Heavenly Destroyer left his acquaintances and arrived at the Yangtze Canal. The Shadow Warrior asks his leader what their next destination is. The guy recalls a conversation with Pang. The old man said that after his longtime friend the Hidden Emperor disappeared, he never managed to find any traces that he left the Northern Blade Association. Yunwen thinks that Pang means Duguzhen never left the Northern Blade Association. The old man says exactly this. The conclusion about that gang of poor people is one they destroy. Although the fact that the Emperor of the Hidden Dragons is still in the Northern Blades Association has not been confirmed, they consider this a correct statement. The Moon of Hwansa infiltrated the Northern Blade Organization to investigate this matter and eventually disappeared without a trace. Guy thinks that something is wrong with the Northern Blade Association, and they should first look into the association itself. Pang says even if the young man takes care of this, he does not think they should get involved with the Northern Blade Association right now, and before that there is one place Yunwen should visit. The young man is curious about what that place is. Now he is transported to the present time, and the Shadow Warrior asks his master why he is so deeply thoughtful. Yunwen asks the children if they have experience fighting with a blade. Yuanju does not understand him. The boy jumps up and tells his team to prepare for a clash with the blade. He jumped right onto the ship's mast, and the captain orders him to come down immediately. The young man says the next destination is the Southern Blade Coalition. Yunwen is sailing on the ship with his company. The boy asks the boatman what song he is singing. The boatman answers strangely, saying the young man does not know songs about heroes. He asks the man if he can tell him about which heroes he is singing. The boatman replies that it is not difficult for him. The five heavens of Murim, the head of the Murim Alliance, the great master Zhang Sanfeng, as well as the loyal disciple of the heavenly demon and the heavenly jade dragon. Beyond them are the four rulers. Sword King of the Northern Sea, the envoy of the Blue Sea, the head of the cult of false vicious blood, and the emperor of the Heavenly Palace. The boy recalled that the cult of false vicious blood attacked the heavenly demon sect, and now he is interested in the Sword King of the Northern Sea, the envoy of the Blue Sea, and the emperor of the Heavenly Palace. The boatman explains that the 7 wonders are the best warriors among the 36 squads of the Alliance of 9 Orthodox sects, and the League of 5 clans. 4 dragons and 2 phoenixes are outstanding newcomers of Murim, and the pair of emperors refers to 2 great warriors among the 5 heavens of Murim. Yunwen regrets asking, thanks the man for the explanation, and asks him to stop. The boys arrived in Wucheng on the banks of the Yangtze River near the Sheshan Mountains. Here stands a famous structure for centuries, the Yellow Crane Tower Pavilion. An employee of the establishment tells Yunwen's team they have no free seats and even booking a seat is very difficult. Now he feels even more sorry for Ziokyun, who still hasn't mastered the technique of transfiguration she had to wait for others at the Golden Frog branch in Wucheng. Zhui Guang tells his master why they don't go directly to the Southern Blades Alliance instead of making stops along the way. Guy says there's no need to make unnecessary noise besides, this time they have no valid reasons for it. Namgun Hyakrion notices the young man and says their meeting was destined by fate. Iomi and An also greet him. Tang Zhongwu, Tang Soyun, and Fin Zhang who also find themselves in the pavilion. He is happy to meet them and asks how they have been since their last meeting. Hyakrion asks Yunwen why he is not enjoying the local cuisine. The boy replies, they did not book a table and there are no free seats. Moreover, he's not alone here. Hyakrion looks surprised, and Ayan gazes at Yunwen with love. He notices that Zhui Guang is incredibly strong and thinks, young Master Wen, so he does not guess what kind of people accompany him. The boy invites Yunwen to join them just like last time. The youth of the 5 Clans League have already reserved a large table, so Yunwen's companions can also sit with them. The young man thanks the boys again for their kindness, and the heavenly demon tells him it would be better if he bit with his own saliva. When people hear their chatter, they pay attention to the young man. They notice one of the 5 heavenly Murims, the heavenly jade dragon. Yunwen notices that they are the center of attention. Hyakrion speaks as always reservedly and nothing strange, so many eyes are fixed on them because the jade dragon is sitting with them at the same table. Hyakrion thinks that it will not be quite comfortable for them to talk. Guy asks the guests of the Yellow Crane Tower not to drill them with their gazes because they want to spend time in a friendly atmosphere. People understood his request and noticed that he is the heir of the Namgun clan. Yunwen thinks that Hyakrion has not changed at all and is still as polite as before. After the words of the heir of the Namgun clan, the atmosphere in the tower became a little more pleasant. The boys began to ask Yunwen questions and Hyakrion was upset. There was no news from this guy and he had never visited the 5 Clans League. He is sorry that it turned out this way, but he had to go abroad. Hyakrion thinks that this must be an important reason and it was just a joke. Ayan asks his brother why he is joking like that. Hemi chews and says that the girl is again taking the young man's side. Guy is curious why Yunwen is here, and it seems he already has a guess. Yunwen tells Hyakrion that nothing can be hidden from him, and that he really came to the Southern Blades Coalition. In the Southern Blades Alliance, a competition will take place, meant to gather talented Murim warriors up to 40 years old. The winner of the competition will be able to marry the adopted daughter of the elder of the Southern Blades Alliance, the Heavenly Royal Jade Phoenix. Yunwen asked Pang why this is so important, like a victory over the Murim Alliance, and also, why should he care who marries this girl? The old man says that it is not about that at all. They say that the elder son who was supposed to be his heir went insane and now is good for nothing. So Dugu Henshin wanted to sell his daughter to this madman. Pang says that Yunwen has nothing to worry about. He heard this from Lan herself. Of course, she did not tell him any details, but the old man found it strange. Previously, the Southern Blades Coalition and the Northern Blades Association kept each other cautious, but the decision about such an important event as the start of cooperation through marriage was made too quickly and secretly from everyone. Pang is still trying to find out the details of this event, but besides the elder's mad son, there is only an adopted daughter. Whoever marries her will become the son-in-law of the elder of the Southern Blades Coalition. Yunwen thinks here, no suspicions, and this is completely normal. For the old man, it is not the competitions themselves nor the reasons for holding them that are strange. It is something entirely different that unsettles him. All the orders of the elder were voiced by his adopted daughter, and the elder himself did not even appear among the people. Yunwen notices that this is similar to how the former leader of the Northern Blades, the Sleeping Dragon, disappeared. Hang says that this happened to an organization that can oppose the Northern Blades Association. Moreover, its elder knew the king of the beggar gang he would not have acted this way. So the old man hoped that Yunwen would join the Southern Blade Coalition before falling into the Northern Blades Association. The boy realized if everything works out, then the Southern Blades Alliance in the future could side with him, and this will lead to the defeat of the Muram Alliance. More precisely, it will be the defeat of the Northern Blades Association. Yunwen thinks that Hyakrian also decided to fight for this right. The boy replies, he is already the heir of the Namgun clan, so he is simply interested in watching strong warriors. They say that 2 of the 4 dragons have registered for the competition, so since Yunwen appeared in Muram, the boy is curious to see how he will perform in these competitions. The boy says he never even thought about participating, let alone getting married. Ayan is glad that he came here not for the competition. Hyakrian does not understand what matters Yunwen came here for at all. The boy even considers this quite good. He needs a reason to infiltrate the Southern Blades Coalition for investigation. But if he simply joins them, he will be recognized immediately. He will stand out from the crowd. And if he ends up in the company of the youth of the League of 5 Clans, it won't be so bad against their background. He won't stand out too much. Yunwen says he came here on several matters after all. Last time when he visited the Northern Blade Association, he decided to visit the Southern Blades Coalition as well. He came up with a great idea, and he wants to go together with the guys.